They do gear up for their first game back on Wednesday at New Jersey, and Rasmus Dahlin did return to the ice after competing for Team Sweden in Milan. We also got an injury update from head coach Lindy Ruff. Zach Benson still not on the ice. He is not expected to play on Wednesday and could be out for the remainder of this week in terms of game action, while Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Josh Norris are expected to be available on Wednesday. Watford's Tage Thompson, it's a bit more up in the air, according to head coach Lindy Ruff, as the U.S. does celebrate their gold medal win over Canada, the first men's hockey gold medal since that 1980 Miracle team. Thompson, along with the entire team, was invited to the State of the Union in Washington, D.C. tomorrow night. This could also, though, mean that Jack Hughes is unavailable for the Devils. In the Sabres Injury Report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. In the NFL, it is Combine Week over in Indianapolis. We'll touch base with our own Sal Capaccio coming up at 4. We're also expected to hear from head coach Joe Brady and general manager Brandon Beane at some time tomorrow, so do keep your ears open for that. The players are reporting today. However, the actual on-the-field testing won't be until Thursday with linebackers, defensive linemen, and kickers. And then before the Combine does get underway, we've got 2 teams expected to hand out franchise tags. Atlanta with tight end Kyle Pitts, and then according to Cowboys COO Stephen Jones, Dallas is leading towards doing the same with wide receiver George Pickens. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones on Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
They've been the top dog. They've been the best for the last bunch of years, and for us, we want to be in that position. I think a lot of guys could say this is the biggest games that they've ever played in.
Boldy looking to switch through. Back Boldy to the net. He scores! There's Vince Marner. Marner across the net. Taves had a wide open goal. United States with numbers. Rock across it comes. Jack Hughes wins it. The golden goal for the United States. For the first time since the 1980 Miracle, the United States takes the gold.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR.
I guess we could start with that. Doesn't seem to pay Everton, Manchester United the appropriate respect, which is just underway. Back to normal. I didn't know what to do with myself this morning. No curling at all.
I got up wondering why there wasn't curling on my TV.
I know.
There's been curling every day for longer than the even Olympic. Like before the opening ceremonies, there was curling on my TV.
Wednesday morning.
In the morning.
And the ceremonies were Friday night. So, yes, 3 days. 3 mornings of it before even the opening ceremonies happened. Okay,
welcome back, Premier League. We're a couple of days away from welcome back to the NHL.
Premier League really didn't leave.
No, I know, but I just didn't. We were in here during the day, early in the week, usually on Monday and Tuesday. There are often games. And I never even one time thought to go looking for soccer. One of the reasons that the channel this game is on now would have had Olympics on. USA was carrying Olympics, I think, like morning, noon, and night throughout the 2 weeks plus. So,
you don't even have that, though.
What's that?
You don't have USA.
Not at home, but in here we do.
Here, yes.
I never thought to go look for soccer when we would get here because it was just, okay, there's Olympics on the soccer channel.
Well, the Briar starts Friday, Bulldogs. If you're missing curling already.
Yeah, there will be. I'll just, what I'll need you to do is maybe you're very considerate with the sound. But maybe, on Friday when it gets going and we won't be in here. Wherever we'll be sitting, because we're still sort of not in here in this room until right as our show begins, because Brad has been in here, and next week it'll be, I think, Nate Geary and Chris Trapasso. Anyway, wherever we're sitting, just turn the volume up a little bit, just so I get a little taste of the hold.
Hard.
I don't even know I don't know. I'm not even sure what the words are.
Hard is what you want.
Hard.
All right. Yeah.
All right. But I appreciate
it. Won't be until Friday night, so you might have to wait until next week.
Oh, well, all right.
But okay, I'll do it.
I'll live.
I'll definitely be watching it as long as TSN allows it.
Yeah.
They have to open the border, as it were, for YouTube streams, and they've done that.
I hope this hockey victory doesn't damage their willingness to provide coverage to you, an American.
I was up there all weekend, and I was a little self-conscious yesterday afternoon. My daughter plays hockey in Canada. She doesn't. She's in She's flaunting it.
Good for her.
I think. Maybe that can be said. I don't know. But I was sort of kind of thinking about it in the afternoon. Well, hey, what a game, what a tournament, what an experience the whole ride was. To lose your teeth in the third period and then score the winner, that's just legendary stuff. Yeah. It is without the teeth. Hughes.
Yeah, it makes for a hell of a picture.
It's an incredible, all-time great Olympics picture, sports picture even, hockey picture, Jack Hughes. I wondered if you thought, and maybe he did talk about this, he probably did. Did he put the puck where he wanted to?
I don't know. It wasn't until I saw like an ice level replay, like from behind him, that I noticed what like Binnington makes a very odd move there that really he like kicks a leg out and is like almost off the ice,
right,
to allow the puck underneath him there. So I don't know if Hughes. I heard him asked about it, and I felt all he said was, I knew I wanted to get a shot off because he was going to be aggressive. He was coming out. And maybe that's a clue that because he was coming out, he thought, I can expose him 5-hole. He's not going to be down in a butterfly because he's moving toward me, and that'll maybe make that harder. But I don't know if that's where, because, yeah, it's not like he picked a corner. I mean, he slid it underneath him. And, they all count. Crosby's little backhand went underneath Miller, like 5-hole. Miller was going for a poke check. This is 16 years ago now. But that was what happened, and it went, on the ice just through him.
Binnington had made a glove save. Was that even in the overtime? It was late in the game if it wasn't in the overtime, where he just gets a piece of it with his glove and it goes wide from there. And I wonder, was that recent enough for the player and the goalie to both be thinking about, for Hughes at least, to be thinking about, he just made that save, but it seemed like that was the shot. But instead, It just goes underneath his leg for an all-time great goal. So
I love that.
Now they're going to ride around South Beach.
One of my favorite things about the entire thing, the experience of them being there and ultimately winning, is Hughes. I think it was right after. I think it's on the ice still, being asked, what went through your mind? And he referenced Megan Keller having scored on, that was Thursday, right? Gold medal, the winner in overtime for the U.S. women against Canada. And I love that was something that he had ready to offer as what he was thinking about in that moment. It's like just there's the women aren't going to go to the White House. The men are. There's a political element to all of this. The FBI director's in there, and the president is calling, and we try not to bring that into our program with intent, but it's there. And I just love that he, in that moment, mentioned the women's team, because they're probably going to get a lot of grief for not agreeing to go for whatever reason they are. And I mean, I totally respect their choice, just as I respect the men's choice to go. It's not my cup of tea, politically speaking, at all. Far from it. But I do appreciate that he mentioned prominently the women right in that moment. Like, there are a million other things he could have said that nobody would have taken issue with. And I just thought that was a really considerate, thoughtful thing for him to say.
He seems like a good choice to be the hero. If you could pick anybody on that team. I always struggle, as I've told you and said on the air last week, with sort of warming up to Team USA. Because when it starts, there are 10 players on the team I hate from the NHL. I'm glad Brady Tkachuk didn't score the same goal, selfishly, because I don't want to root for Brady Tkachuk. I feel like that's gross. And, every year there's, maybe it's not 10, but I definitely felt the feels yesterday. I wasn't, I was not conflicted when they won the game. And I'm absolutely not anything anti-Canada or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I loved it, and I feel like both the Hughes brothers are really likable. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah,
would you say the same thing?
I think so. Yeah. There's certainly super important superstar players. I mean, Quinn Hughes missing the Four Nations was a big deal for them last year at this time. So to have him, he of course scored a big overtime goal himself. in this thing earlier last week. So yeah, that's why I'm pointing out that Hughes mentioned the women's team. I think that is evidence of like thoughtful and just trying to like lift everybody up, not just like go USA men. So yeah, I mean I think it's a nice it's certainly a marquee player. He's not like the top guy. But he's close. I mean, he's a top American player. There's no question about that. Mm-hmm. So good for him that he gets that opportunity. And that's right. I mean, Quinn. I think Quinn's even a bigger impact player than his brother at this point. I would say. So really great. An all-time memory for me. I mean, this job. I'm not out a lot for stuff. And I was in a absolutely mobbed scene at my favorite bar that, opened early. And I mean, I don't know, a dozen friends, not just acquaintances, like close friends, all around. Owen's there, friends of his age are there. It was just a really cool scene to be a part of.
Lots of high fives.
Lots of high fiving.
See, that's the problem.
Well, actually, there wasn't that many because they scored that opening
Two goals.
Right. We high fived in the first period.
Manageable amount.
And Boldy made what to me the best play of the whole game, other than Hellebuck making saves. That Boldy goal was fantastic. What he did in the neutral zone to sort of chip that puck up and bat it in the air and then chase it down and score the goal. Tremendous. High fives then, and then there were no more high fives until you scored.
And that's hugs probably.
Yeah, more than that.
That's what I wanted to stay away from.
No hugs.
My brother-in-law went out, and I knew it was happening, and I was up. It crossed my mind, but I thought there'd be all that touching.
Yeah,
I had to stay. I wasn't in the mood for all that touching.
Yeah,
at least if it's not going to be in my house. I'm going to try to avoid it.
I'm trying to remember now. I mean, I don't know how much. There was hugging. I just don't know that I did any hugging.
You were standoffish.
I might have avoided the hugging.
Saying,
I don't know. Yeah.
Some are saying,
but
Bulldog was there. I read about him in the magazines, and he seemed like such a warm person. And then I'm sitting next to him at the gold medal game, and he won't even look at me.
Yeah, but it was an all-time sports moment for me. To be out with what I don't know how many people fit into the Moore Room, but it was a packed place and awesome.
All time top 10
easily.
Just games where you're out.
Yeah, just to be
or all games.
All games.
Top 10
easy
all time sports moments.
Because I don't have. Like any Bills stuff from however many years they've been good here. We're working.
I know, but you watched those.
I watched those games, but I'm getting ready to go on the air. There's never I'm not out. I'm not with people. There's not a lot of emotion. It's usually just like, okay, they won, good. We get to play again next week.
Well, the '90s too. Like I'm thinking you still even though you were not living in Buffalo. You would have watched those games and had,
of course,
memories.
But I was working at the.
Is it too long ago? Even
it maybe, but my memories of that are largely not being out with people. It's answering phones and running deliveries and just. I was always working for all the big stuff. I was always working. So what I've mentioned this a couple of times now that I have this experience. I'm going to make it a point to go out when I can. To watch Sabres games here, be it just these 25 games in the regular season or hopefully into the playoffs, because it really does feel good. I used to say I don't want to be around too many people because, people say dumb stuff and it's going to aggravate me, and I think I'm over that.
Sometimes the announcers do that, and if you're out, you won't even hear them. So maybe it's better this way.
Well, in this
they're
case,
not professionals.
In
these
this case, they had the
around.
game blasting, so there was no mistaking the announcers. Maybe that helps. See, I heard less talking because I was all you could really hear was Kenny Albert.
Maybe
that worked for me.
How do you like this McKinnon? We all saw who the better team was.
Is that the exact quote?
No, that's probably not the exact quote.
And
what do you mean?
There's filler on both sides of that too. Like there's a longer the context is missing with that quote pulled out.
I don't know if I want that to stop me.
Because I think you got. He still did say, you tell me who the better team is.
That's all I meant.
Think is the quote.
That's all I meant.
But around it was like, they won, we lost. It's not as bad if you look at the end. I don't have it sitting here in front of me either.
I want the person who says we all saw who the better team was to be somebody that's never seen 10 hockey games in their life and doesn't understand how hockey is like that. I mean, he hasn't been on 100 teams that won games where they got outshot. Like, stuff it. I don't need anybody to try to explain, like, actually, what was the Corsi in this game, guys? I mean, don't they give medals out for possession stats anymore? Doesn't anybody care about that? You can't have that from a hockey player. They know how it works. I mean, it's pretty random sometimes. And speaking of random, I think I even want to stick up for 3-on-3 today.
Oh. Well, enjoy yourself. I'll
Two reasons.
I won't just be passive about it. I will fight you. I hate it so much.
Two reasons. I mean, it isn't my favorite idea either, but now it's like everybody hates that these games ended that way. And I'll just say, not that you don't know this, but the practical aspect of it matters. The fact that there's a tournament and other games have to get played, and they can't go all night. They obviously want to avoid that. And with the NHL, you get that sometimes. Even now, where teams are so good and the play is so fast, you'll still get 3-4 overtime games. So they're obviously going to avoid that, try to avoid that. This easily accomplishes that. There's no way a 3-on-3 game is going to a double overtime. So that's the point. And sports has this always. It's always about the logistics, and I think as purists, if you will, we tend to resent it. We don't want the 10th inning to have a runner on second base because we never had that before and it seemed fine. Then you get, I think it's funny that the World Series had a game that went 18 innings, just it's going to happen, but sports evolves. And if it could have been 4-on-4, I think I would have supported that. I know I said that last week. But the logistics matter. It's the end of the Olympics. It's the last event of the Olympics.
I believe that's right.
Wrap it up. We're going to clean the ice. We're going to take the time necessary to do that. Then we're going to end this thing. So it's still hockey. I mean, you get 4-on-3 power play situations in hockey. 3-on-3 is not a shootout. So I would say that. And I liked a point that I read at Defector today about it, which is, in essence, how many NHL playoff games end in overtime on fluke goals? Like, I don't know, half? Half will be, it depends on your definition, but a shot from the point bounces in off somebody, the goalie can't see it, game over. I don't know, like, is that much better? Is it at all better than what we got yesterday? These 3-on-3 goals, Quinn Hughes against Sweden, Marner against whoever that was. Finland? No. Who was that against? Czechs?
Yes.
Czechs. Jack Hughes yesterday. These are like
Megan Keller,
quintessentially Megan Keller. These are gems.
Yeah. I like that point a lot. Because guys don't even take shots from the point. In 3-on-3.
Right.
If they have the puck with an open look at the point, they back out of the zone.
That's right.
more time than not. I hate it, but I absolutely understand everything you just said for why it's in place. Like even earlier when we first started, we knew it was going to happen, and then we saw it happen. It was like, yeah. Boy, I get it. It's, NHL players, you don't want them playing 4 or 5 periods of hockey in what is, mid-season tournament here, or late-season tournament, from that standpoint. And there's an Olympic Games to run. It is not just a hockey tournament. It's within, the Olympics. I understand why it's there. I just don't. I don't like it as a way to decide a game, but I don't have a better idea. So, I guess I got to kind of live with it. What I didn't like, I'm more bothered. I found the entire McKinnon quote, which I'll give you in a minute here. But did you see Cooper after the game talking about the 3-on-3? He sounds like me.
I heard about it.
You're pulling four players off of the ice and whatever. Yesterday was not the day for that. You just lost. You won earlier in the tournament in overtime, and so it gave you something, and now it got taken away. And I don't really need to hear the coach of Team Canada. And I like John Cooper a lot complaining about the format. In some way, it's the most sore losery comment of the whole thing to me. It's him complaining about that. It's a valid criticism, but you just lost in the gold medal game, and I just don't want to hear it right now from you. McKinnon, by the way, the whole quote is, it's been close for a while. They're an amazing, skilled group of players. It just felt like it wasn't going to be. You guys can be the judge of who the better team was tonight. They won, we lost.
Blah, blah, blah.
So I don't think it's as bad as
I guess
the better team lost.
When does anybody need a rational?
I know. I'm sorry. I mean,
take?
It'd be better if I just didn't know this, but I know this.
He got worked on the winner.
Yep.
After whiffing on an open net.
Right.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm allowed to
totally valid
have my moment only as a fan, but it's such a great play. All of it is such a great play. The goalie gets an assist as it's Hughes behind the net, who kicks the puck. All of it's so good. Kicks the puck to Werenski in the corner. He comes out. What a weird little move he makes. He shovels it. Was that even on his backhand? He shovels it ahead to Hughes, and it's going to be close. Whoever is close, maybe McDavid, whoever it is.
Makar is the player pinching there.
Okay. Makar is closing on Hughes, and what does Hughes do? He's able to chip it. I think that might be a backhand, too, in the air, down the ice, and race for it. And Werenski wins the race.
He bodies McKinnon.
He
off
bodies
the puck.
McKinnon,
yep.
And Larkin is right there, but Larkin never touches it. He's just around, and boom, boom. So good. All time. I don't know if I'm not ready to declare it a top 10 favorite sports moment. You wanted them to win more than I did. I wanted the women to win more than I wanted the men to win. So I got that. But I'm not sure I would put that in the top 10 of my entire life.
I'll tell you what. I mean, the U.S. could have lost the game, and I still would say the same thing. The event was the thing. 8 in.m, the bar's opening at 6. It was a special event. And yes. Mostly if you are getting up to go somewhere to watch a game like that, you love it. Right? I felt like I was in a room. I'm sure there were exceptions. There's probably a lot more casuals than I think. But if you're getting up at that hour to go out somewhere and drink beer or Bloody Marys and watch a hockey game, you really love hockey. And so for me, I would say the same thing if Canada had won 2-1. On the same play. I'd say it was an incredible match. It's heartbreaking, but it was incredible being out with a bunch of people watching that. And yeah, I mean, there wouldn't have been the celebratory chanting, and Freebird wouldn't have played on the in-house right after. Yeah, there would have been stuff missing, but I still would have it very highly rated for me personally, having been out to watch that game with 100 people or so.
Would you have watched the medal ceremony had Canada won?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes. I don't think I would have moved. I think I would have just stayed right where I was.
I think in a way, in sort of a not nice way, one of the sweetest things about coming out on top in those 2 gold medal games is that the loser has to sit there for so long. And you see a lot of them have their heads down. They don't want to see Team USA screaming and throwing all their equipment all over the place and all of that was. And it just goes on for so long before you even get to the medals. Man, that is a tough few.
Right. You got the picture at center
minutes.
ice and the Gaudreau children and the whole thing. And that's all before the medal ceremony,
no,
right?
I think that's after.
That was after. Okay, thank you.
I think Canada would have left by then.
Yeah,
probably,
I think that's right.
But
okay.
You have to wait for all of that to calm down before they get the runners out and all the executives come out with the stuffed animals, and
they got to go through twice by the way, like,
yes, they go through twice.
You can't just give them the stuffed animal
plushie.
while you're giving them the silver medal, because McKinnon, his face when they give him the little stuffed animal is, like, I know he's in the crosshairs for these comments, and rightly so, and being kind of a goat really in the game. I mean, he blew an open net and got worked on the winning goal. Find a better goat than that. But his face when he got that stuffed animal was just priceless.
This goes back to Munich. Actually, it goes back to Greece.
The stuffed animals.
The very first Olympics. They always had the medals, one to the end, and then the little Beanie Baby guys after that. Has the show ever sounded older or newer? If you're listening in Rochester, hello Rochester. We're glad to have you as a part of our team. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. We'll talk to Sal Capaccio from the Combine in Indianapolis, assuming that he made it.
I've not heard
different.
Hang on, I do have one new text message. Let me.
Well, we'll stay tuned and find out. Don't spoil it.
Okay.
The plan is to talk to Sal from Indy at 4. He'll be there for a few days. Also, Paul Hamilton later on. The Sabres are back. Well, they have been practicing. They got Rasmus Dahlin back. Not yet Thompson. He's got a night to have first, apparently. Team USA partying in Florida before they all go back to work. And then maybe they go to Washington.
Right.
We'll see. We'll find out together what happens with Tage Thompson. For that matter, Jack Hughes, who the Sabres would face, in theory, on Wednesday night. Buffalo at New Jersey. 803-0550 for your calls. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
I would say. So, yeah, really great. An all-time memory for me. I mean, this job, I'm not out a lot for stuff. And I was in a absolutely mobbed scene at my favorite bar that, opened early. And I mean, I don't know, a dozen friends, not just acquaintances, like close friends, all around. Owen's there, friends of his age are there. It was just a really cool scene to be a part of.
Lots of high fives?
Lots of high fiving.
See, that's the problem.
Well, actually, there wasn't that many because they scored that opening
Two
goal.
goals.
Right. We high fived in the first period.
Manageable amount.
And Boldy made what, to me, the best play of the whole game, other than Hellebuck making saves. That Boldy goal was fantastic. What he did in the neutral zone, to sort of chip that puck up and bat it in the air and then chase it down and score the goal. Tremendous. High fives then, and then there were no more high fives until you scored.
And that's hugs, probably.
Yeah, more than that.
That's what I wanted to stay away from.
No hugs.
My brother-in-law went out, and I knew it was happening, and I was up. It crossed my mind, but I thought there'd be all that touching.
Yeah.
I had to stay. I wasn't in the mood for all that touching.
Yeah.
At least if it's not going to be in my house, I'm going to try to avoid it.
I'm trying to remember now. I mean, I don't know how much. Definitely there was hugging. I just don't know that I did any hugging.
You were standoffish.
I might have avoided the hugging.
Saying,
I don't know. Yeah.
Some are saying,
but
Bulldog was there. I read about him in the magazines, and he seemed like such a warm person. And then I'm sitting next to him at the gold medal game, and he won't even look at me.
Yeah. But it was an all-time sports moment for me to be out with what, I don't know how many people fit into the Moore Room, but it was it was a packed place and awesome.
All-time top 10
easily.
Just games where you're out.
Yeah, just to be
or all games.
All games.
Top 10
easy
all-time sports moments.
Because I don't have. Like any Bills stuff from however many years they've been good here. We're working.
I know, but you watched those games.
I watched those games, but I'm getting ready to go on the air. There's never I'm not out. I'm not with people. There's not a lot of emotion. It's usually just like, okay, they won, good. We get to play again next week.
Well, the 90s too. Like I'm thinking you still even though you were not living in Buffalo, you would have watched those games and had,
of course,
memories.
But I was working at the.
Is it too long ago? Even
it maybe, but my memories of that are largely not being out with people. It's answering phones and running deliveries and just. I was always working for all the big stuff. I was always working. So what I've mentioned this a couple of times now that I have this experience. I'm going to make it a point to go out when I can. To watch Sabres games here, be it just these 25 games in the regular season or hopefully into the playoffs, because it really does feel good. Yeah, I used to say I don't want to be around too many people because, you're going to people say dumb stuff and it's going to aggravate me. And I think I'm over that.
Sometimes the announcers do that. And if you're out, you won't even hear them. So maybe it's better this way.
Well, in this
They're
case,
not professionals.
In
these
this
people
case,
you're
they
sitting
had the
around.
game blasting, so there was no mistaking the announcer.
He seems like a good choice to be the hero. If you could pick anybody on that team, I always struggle, as I've told you and said on the air last week, with sort of warming up to Team USA because when it starts, there are 10 players on the team I hate from the NHL. Like, I'm glad Brady Tkachuk didn't score the same goal, selfishly, because I don't want to root for Brady Tkachuk. I feel like that's gross. And, every year there's, maybe it's not 10, but I definitely felt the feels yesterday. Like, I wasn't, I was not conflicted when they won the game. And I'm absolutely not anything like anti-Canada or anything like that.
Yeah.
But, I loved it. And I feel like both the Hughes brothers are really likable. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah,
Would you say the same thing?
I think so, yeah. There's certainly super important superstar players. Quinn Hughes missing the Four Nations was a big deal for them last year at this time. So to have him, he of course scored a big overtime goal himself in this thing earlier last week. So yeah, that's why I'm pointing out that Hughes mentioned the women's team. I think that is evidence of thoughtful and just trying to lift everybody up, not just go USA men. So yeah, I think it's a nice it's certainly a marquee player. He's not the top guy. But he's close. He's a top American player. There's no question about that. Mm-hmm. So good for him that he gets that opportunity. And that's right. I think Quinn's even a bigger impact player than his brother at this point, I would say.
Now, go chase him and go get him. Because our country loves sports, and it brings us together unlike anything else.
Mike Tirico. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Thanks for joining us. Reflecting on the games and, of course, the gold medal game in men's hockey yesterday. NHL fans, Sabres fans, did you come out of it with a new opinion about one player or a few players? Did you have a player on Team USA that maybe you thought was a lot better than you thought?
Well, I already mentioned the play Boldy made, and that's Minnesota, and that's not a team that I seek out, but there's a lot of talent there now. Hughes is there now, Quinn Hughes is there now, Kaprizov, of course, I think most hockey fans know. Boldy, Owen and I were talking about this maybe during the game. He stood out to me the whole tournament. That's not a guy that I thought was as imposing as he is physically. He's a big dude. And what Owen said I thought was perfect. He's Matthew Nyes. I watched the Leafs a lot, and I've been crushing on Matthew Nyes since he showed up there and started developing. I like his game a lot. And Boldy is the fully formed version of that guy already. He's high-end talent, big, physical. Yeah, that would be my answer. Is Boldy from Minnesota? I'm not a guy that I honestly might not have even been sure last year during the Four Nations whether he or his teammate Faber, which one was the defenseman and which one was a forward. Honest to God, I'm just being honest. Mm-hmm. And I obviously know now, and really was impressed with him. How about you?
I'm not sure. I like that Brock Nelson has gray hair on the sides. So I didn't appreciate that about him before yesterday. It was interesting to watch Eichel again closely. I cannot stand watching Vegas play because of him. Mm-hmm. But, I'm rooting for his team now. And it's just like I remember it. It's just like I thought and knew it to be with Eichel.
Yeah.
The passing is elite, hard, on the tape, every time. Just like that aspect of his game, obviously his length, his skating, elite traits. He's not a finisher, really, for a guy as good as he is, right? I mean, he might have had the first chance of this game and missed the net early, but, you got to snipe it to score. I understand you don't want to shoot at the goalie's crest either, but it's almost all pros with a rare con when it comes to him, but it was all on display this week with him. And I got to say, I'm usually somewhat of an apologist for players who build a reputation for, being bad or different in the postseason, any sport. I just tend to not buy it. I think, sure, there can be nerves, and that is a real thing, but I think most of these guys are so accustomed to the spotlight. And then as a great athlete, I think you just go out and you just play. And I just usually, I never wanted to hear it about Mitch Marner, that, he was a playoff choker or something like that. Sometimes the goals don't come. You're playing better teams. Maybe I was wrong to think that. But here he is scoring this goal last week.
Well, Austin Matthews is probably
who I'm getting to.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump you.
Matthews is who I'm getting to, because he just made bad play after bad play, I thought. Hardly ever was a threat to score. There was one Eichel pass, maybe it's that power play where Thompson is in the slot, and Matthews is really just not ready for it. He's not there. And that play where, whatever that is, I don't know, but the play where he dumps the puck into the feet of the guy who had just come on the ice at the bench when they're changing, how do you ever make that play? How does anyone ever make that choice with the puck? You cannot. That's the only thing you really can't do.
Right.
Is dump the puck into your teammates' feet on a change. They had 8 players on the ice at one point there with possession. They were lucky. And that's one where you just got to, anything else.
Yeah, put the puck anywhere
else. Get to
else.
the red line, dump it in. Skate backwards with it. You cannot do that.
Yeah, opponents, if they notice that kind of a schmozzle happening at their opponent's bench, will throw the puck at the bench.
Right.
Just going to throw it over there, and maybe we get lucky, we get a call. Right. So for you to do it to your own bench is not.
I thought he was a big disappointment,
smart.
Matthews. And he's somebody that otherwise, if I didn't watch it as closely, I would have probably just made excuses for him. I'm not saying I'm right. You might agree with me.
I didn't notice him positively or negatively. Okay. Honestly. At least in this game. He scored a couple of goals during the tournament. The one game, I think he had a 2-goal game. So it's not like he was invisible. But he was always a pretty curious choice to me as captain for that team. I guess because he's had the years he's had and the career he's had so far, he might be the highest ranking American living goal scorer currently. I don't know if that's how you do it, but I think he's a very quiet guy. I think it's part of the problem. He's just not someone who ever really gives you anything to chew on, and I think that from that it's if your personality, that what we see is kind of just not excitable, not that interesting. I think a lot of assumptions can get made.
I'll
about
defend
guys.
that too. I'll usually defend that too.
Yeah. But as captain, that was he was getting talked to after the game, and the Hughes brothers wanted to make sure this is Austin Matthews, winner. They were, they were defensive about his reputation, or at least know of his reputation enough to want to push back on it. Hey, he just captained the U.S. to the first gold medal in 46 years. How about a little love for our guy? But I think that'll be interesting to follow with him moving forward, going home to Toronto. Sure. To go play for the Leafs, who are struggling to even get in I guess they're in a playoff race, but they're kind of still buried. So they got a lot of work to do to save their season, and we're all right. If we had a guy from Canada on our team on the Sabres and he won the gold medal, we'd be celebrating him. But I wonder what that's like for Leafs fans and Canadians in general. With him.
Hellebuck a little bit too, because they haven't had much playoff success.
That's right. That's the story of his career is MVP last year, Vezina's best goalie in the game. Like, he's on the short list of year-over-year guys who are stable, bankable commodities at that position in a league where there's only a few of those guys, and the rest of it we talk about all the time. So it's very much in flux. Yeah, he needed some kind of a breakthrough. It's too bad his team is also having mostly a lost season. Mm-hmm. Like, he won't get to build on this in the postseason, it doesn't look like.
Matthews is the highest-ranking all-time American goal scorer of players who were on the team. Patrick Kane is above him, but I don't think there's anybody else in play there. 803-0550. I think I saw this way when the game ended and the Americans pile onto the glass on the near side of the ice. Hughes is not even like the first one there. It took him a minute to get attention from his teammates as the players were celebrating. Like, he was kind of on his own for a couple of seconds. I don't know where that helmet landed. I'd like to think that made it back to him, and his teeth for that matter. Did he save the teeth? But anyway, Matthews is this is not at all a criticism. I think this is kind of funny. He's one of the last Americans to arrive at the pile-up, at the celebration, and the first thing he does is rip Thompson's helmet off from behind. Like, they're all facing the glass, and Matthews gets to Thompson and just takes his helmet off. And then he goes for another one. Somebody else, I mean, not as a gag or anything like that, I'm not saying that, just like to start the celebration.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's got to have their helmets and gloves off, right?
Right, I guess.
So he takes Thompson's helmet off, and then he went for a second one over to, like, his right, and he didn't get it, and then I think that was all for him in this area. Okay. But he's the one, if Thompson's wondering, who took my helmet off for me? It was Matthews, I believe, who did that. So
maybe that's a celebration faux pas to get to the pile and still have your helmet on.
You got to have the helmet off first.
You need some rehearsing and some practice at celebrating.
Well, you can't blame those guys for not having too much of it.
One much.
Matthews knew.
Although he's good. Thompson scored the golden goal in the World Championships last year.
Matthews seemed to know.
Yeah.
Helmets off here, boys. But maybe I don't know if they're buddies. Like, we talked about this off the air. They're both from Arizona, and they're almost exactly the same age. Matthews is like a month older than Thompson, so they might have a long history together.
I've never known. I guess I knew Matthews was from Arizona. I asked you before the show. I was never really sure where Thompson was from. I thought I'd heard through the course of these couple of weeks here that he was also from Arizona, but I wasn't sure. And so, therefore, I've never heard about connections the two of them might have had growing up. But it would be very surprising to me if two guys who ended up in the U.S. national team development program and just became like first-round picks. I mean, Matthews first overall. But the players at that age growing up in Arizona, I'd be stunned if they didn't know one another pretty well, maybe even opponents, played together, whatever. But I don't know the backstory and the history of all that.
Maybe if one of the families moves away when they're young or something, they don't know each other as well.
I mean, I know Matthews in his draft year went to go play in Switzerland rather than play college or juniors anywhere, and Tage went to UConn. Like, he played some college hockey. So I don't know, like, obviously that's there where the paths would diverge if indeed they were intersecting when they were young teenagers.
They're also both really tall. And, in team pictures, you know this from your life experience, the tall people have to be in the back.
Right.
And you'll see in the USA team picture, they have their arms around each other in the back. Like, they're back center, Thompson and Matthews. We'll talk to Sal Capaccio today from the Combine in Indianapolis. Get you your football. More on Team USA and the return of the Sabres season. Paul Hamilton later on. Your calls are welcome at 803-0550. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. This is WGR.
Well, just when maybe
Stick up for 3-on-3 today.
Oh, you all enjoy yourself. I mean, I'll
2 reasons.
I won't just be passive about it. I will fight you. I hate it so much.
2 reasons. I mean, it isn't my favorite idea either, but now it's like everybody hates that these games ended that way. And I'll just say, not that you don't know this, but the practical aspect of it matters. The fact that there's a tournament and other games have to get played, and they can't go all night. They obviously want to avoid that. And with the NHL, you get that sometimes. Even now, where teams are so good and the play is so fast, you'll still get 3-4 overtime games. So they're obviously going to avoid that, try to avoid that. This easily accomplishes that. There's no way a 3-on-3 game is going to a double overtime. So that's the point. And sports has this always. It's always about the logistics, and I think as purists, if you will, we tend to resent it. We don't want the 10th inning to have a runner on second base because we never had that before and it seemed fine. Then you get, I think it's funny that the World Series had a game that went 18 innings, just it's going to happen, but sports evolves. And if it could have been 4-on-4, I think I would have supported that. I know I said that last week, but the logistics matter. It's the end of the Olympics. It's the last event of the Olympics.
I believe that's right.
Wrap it up. We're going to clean the ice. We're going to take the time necessary to do that. Then we're going to end this thing. So it's still hockey. I mean, you get 4-on-3 power play situations in hockey. 3-on-3 is not a shootout. So I would say that, and I like to point that I was just contemplating that Sam Darnold won a Super Bowl, like not even a month ago. Just thinking about that again.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Joe and I made the Tannehill bet? Is he the quarterback of the Titans yet? Ryan Tannehill? Hi, Rochester. This is Sneaky Joe, who's a co-host here in the mornings. Ryan Tannehill, as you probably know, was an NFL quarterback. And Joe and I made a bet, which I still love, even though I'm going to lose, that he would win a Super Bowl someday.
I think he definitely is on the Titans, and it might even be near the end for him.
He definitely is, because they weren't the 1 seed yet. It was before that.
Okay.
That's before 13 seconds.
Okay.
That's that season.
Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
And because it got interesting.
Yeah.
The bet was that Joe would pay me 20-1 odds. Like it wasn't just even up.
Right.
Ryan Tannehill will start and win a Super Bowl. 20-1 odds. Because they got a little bit close. They
did.
They had home field in the AFC playoffs. Did not win. And I thought to text Joe today, would Sam Darnold have been like even a bigger long shot than Tannehill was at that time? I think so. I don't know where he is then. Like, is he even to Carolina yet or what? I mean,
no,
he's still a Jet.
He's still a Jet, yeah. Because if it's my guess is it's pre-COVID, right? Like, that's on the board. That's not like new on the board when I start coming back to work a couple of years ago or whenever. I don't remember all the timing, but I know I wasn't in here for almost 2 years or more. And that was definitely on there before that. And so that's like, what, April of 20 we're talking about? So it predates that. Mm-hmm. So, okay. Yeah, that's right. Joe should have been sweating a little bit.
So it's maybe 7 years old.
Yeah,
this
maybe.
Bet.
Yeah.
And, it didn't happen. It's still up there because Tannehill has not retired, to my knowledge. I'm waiting for that.
Well, I think you should I think it should stay there for a while because with Phillip Rivers coming back after 5 years away, I think you're not going to want to rule anything out.
So it's like the Hall of Fame. When he retires, if he hasn't won the Super Bowl yet, it's 5 years before I pay Joe $10.
I think so.
I'm doing great at this, even though I'm going to lose. Like what is $10 going to be worth in 2033 versus what it was worth 15 years earlier when we made the bet?
You're making out great.
I'm making out. So I don't have to pay him in gold, right? I can just pay him in $10. Right. Might not be worth anything in 5 years.
Yeah, you're going to be able to get a cup of coffee for under $10 in a couple of years.
Right. Oh, what a great bet. But Darnold would have been more ridiculous at the time of that bet, unless he was like still a rookie. But even, I mean, right when his career started, it was dubious.
That's right. He was already seeing ghosts. He looked like it was going to end badly in New York. So even if he's still the Jets quarterback, and furthermore, Geno Smith hasn't resuscitated his career yet. He might still be like a Giants backup before he goes to Seattle eventually, right? So we didn't yet have Daniel Jones, right? Any of the guys that have sort of, done what Darnold and Geno Smith and Daniel Jones have done, which is come back from what looked like just disastrous early parts of their careers to become, respectable ideas again. So I doubt, Darnold would have been, maybe you even get Joe to go to 30-1 on Darnold.
Joe said to me today, he was younger, so there would have been more time for it. But yes, maybe he would also say bigger long shot. Well, that was the bet to make.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Easy to say now.
That was the bet to make. The Darnold would get one. We'll talk to Sal Capaccio from Indianapolis, NFL Combine Week. That's next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Thanks for listening. This is WGR.
Sabres practice this morning as they gear up for their first game back on Wednesday at New Jersey. Rasmus Dahlin did return to the ice after competing for Team Sweden over in Milan. And we also did get an injury update from head coach Lindy Ruff. Zach Benson still not on the ice, and it is expected that he's not going to play on Wednesday or potentially even this whole week, while Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Josh Norris are expected to be available on Wednesday. While for Tage Thompson is a little bit more up in the air as the United States celebrates their gold medal win over Canada. Thompson, along with the entire team, was invited to the State of the Union in Washington, D.C. tomorrow night. This, though, also could mean Jack Hughes is unavailable for the Devils. We'll talk to Paul Hamilton at 6 o'clock, so do stay tuned for that. And the Sabres Injury Report is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. In the NFL, it's Combine Week over in Indianapolis. We're going to touch base with Sal Capaccio coming up next, so do stay tuned for that. We are also expected to hear from head coach Joe Brady and general manager Brandon Beane at some time tomorrow, so stay tuned for that as well. While for the Combine, players will begin reporting today. The actual on-the-field testing, though, won't be until Thursday. Linebackers, defensive linemen, and kickers will get things underway. And then we also have some Bills news. It is confirmed Alec Anderson and Fedarian Mathis have signed their one-year deals, and around the league, we've got two teams expected to hand out franchise tags. Atlanta with tight end Kyle Pitts, and then according to Cowboys COO Stephen Jones, Dallas is leaning towards doing the same with wide receiver George Pickens. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones on Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Sal Capaccio.
Sal Capaccio, Sal Capaccio, Sal Capaccio, Sal Capaccio, Sal Capaccio, Sal Capaccio, Sal Capaccio.
On WGR.
All right. The Combine is this week. Sal Capaccio, it appears, has made it to Indianapolis. And I didn't take that for granted. I don't know, Sal, what kind of day you've had, but a lot of weather in the Northeast. It's sunny here. But my son is traveling today, and we're just kind of thinking about maybe it's going to be a tough day to get around. How about for you? Was it?
Actually, today was fine. But on this note, though, what happened was we were on a cruise last week for vacation, and we left. The cruise actually left out of New York City last Sunday, went down to the Bahamas, and then came back yesterday. I was supposed to leave out of Newark yesterday. So Yana and Max were the original plan was they drive me to the Newark airport. I leave to come to Indy tomorrow afternoon, I should say, whatever. And then they drive home to Buffalo. Well, when we saw the storm was coming, I'm like, I don't know. If you guys drive me to Newark, I might get stuck there as you're driving home to Buffalo. So let's not do that. So I actually canceled that flight, rebooked out of Buffalo this morning, drove home with them yesterday, flew here today, and it was easy peasy.
Good.
Glad to hear that. All right. And I trust everything went well while you were away in the tropics?
Yeah, they have not had the best weather down that way, Florida, Bahamas. And in fact, I have a friend of mine who's down there now who said like literally high of 50s down there. We got lucky. We had a couple days of 70s, but it was still pretty cloudy. The water was a little chilly, when you compare it to a lot of other times you go down. Like I'm not a big swimmer. I don't love water, but I love water parks. I'll go down the slides. Yeah. And it was some of that chilly water in the water parks. But you know what, guys? It was nice to get away, refresh, and be on a cruise. And there were like 3, maybe 4 full days at sea, considering going all the way down there and all the way back. And that was relaxing to kind of do some stuff on the ship.
Good. So right back to it now. The Combine doesn't actually you're there. When do things get percolating there?
Well, they're starting the measurements for some players and people like that, this week, I believe. Earlier this week. But the big stuff for us is tomorrow. That's when we're going to start to hear from a lot of the coaches and GMs. Now, not everybody is speaking. I guess the Jaguars have opted not even to be here at all, to have their coach and GM come, and they're going to be doing things, back home and whatever. But we're going to hear from Joe Brady and Brandon Beane, and it's a bit different. For the first time since 2017, no Sean McDermott here. Brandon Beane entering his 10th season. Of course, 2017 he didn't speak as the GM. I don't even think Doug Whaley did that year, to be honest with you, if I remember right. But he's been talking since 2018. That's when everything gets going for us. That's tomorrow afternoon. That'll be in the 2 p.m. hour. Actually, right before you guys go on tomorrow, you'll be able to know what Joe Brady and Brandon Beane had to say. It'll be pretty fresh for you.
I think wasn't Whaley fired like a day after the draft almost?
Yeah,
like
he was.
He wouldn't have been around for the combine, I think.
He was. He was around because he was fired the day after the draft.
Right.
Oh, okay. Right. I got it mixed up. Jacksonville opting out. What again is the benefit of that? Just
Didn't the Rams do this a couple of years ago, or maybe even last year?
Yeah.
It's Snead and McVay.
Was it both? I don't know. Maybe.
I think so.
What is the?
Yeah,
I guess,
maybe.
What?
I don't know. They just feel like it's more important for them to be here. So what happens is you have the rule of the 45 rule. So each team can meet with 45 different prospects while they're here at Indianapolis. Official visits with them where they get I think maybe 15 minutes each in each interview, maybe 20, something like that. And, they can meet with them and go over whatever they want. That whole thing. We saw Kyrie Elam with the interview a few years ago that bringing out the notebook and things like that. And I guess some teams just feel that's not as beneficial for them. They'd rather just kind of do the business of football that they need to get to back at their facility and get to the pro days and get to the interviews when they bring them back, to their facilities.
I'm fully with finding the interview process, if not just overrated, completely inconsequential. I've thought that for a long time. The biases we have as people when we're listening to certain other people in interviews can really set you wrong. I just can't figure out why it would be possibly better to not even go. As long as you can afford it, and any NFL team can afford it, what am I doing? Am I playing Stratego instead? What am I doing instead? Just to be in the stadium, Sal, noticing things, talking to people, trades, and just bouncing ideas off each other. That's, for me, what's weird. I think if it were entirely up to me, I'm one of these teams, I'd go, of course, but I might not bother with the interviews, or I might make certain different choices. But I can't imagine it would come out as positive EV to just not go at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just knowing the way it is for us, for me, for the media, and seeing people here, I'm wondering what would they benefit by that? So Liam Cohen and James Gladstone, that's their GM. They won't be here at all, as you said. Now, I don't know if that means that their staff won't be here. I'm guessing they will. They'll they'll get medical checkups and things like that when those things start. I don't know, though. Maybe they're not even coming. But I know they're not coming, those two particular men. And I agree with you, Mike. Knowing how this works, this is a major convention. I always say to people say, what's it like? Why do you go to the Combine? Why is it important for the NFL, for media? Well, the basic answer would be no matter what industry you're in out there, whether you sell cars or you work in maintenance or something, in housing or whatever, there's probably some sort of convention for your industry somewhere in the country every year. This is it. The Combine is it. The Combine is the convention for the NFL every year. It's where everybody bounces ideas off each other. The difference is in this particular industry, around the country, everybody's competitive, right? So you're also kind of trying to figure out what the other person's doing. You do something different, but you're also collaborating. The agents are here, guys. The agents come here. This is when everything starts to happen with free agency, and we start to learn what's going to wind up happening with certain guys and what their price tags might be, and you start to hear rumors. This is also where we get a lot of news, which is like last year. The day that we got here last year, or the day that Brandon Beane spoke, he told us right there Khalil Shakir had signed a 4-year contract extension. We didn't know that until that happened that day, and then that was the first of many dominoes. So I don't know what the benefit would be of not being here for any of that.
Well, I wonder what you might have in mind for Beane and Brady tomorrow. I mean, it hasn't been that long since Brady was introduced and both spoke. And there really hasn't been much news since then. Maybe, like you're saying, tomorrow there will be more. But what are we going to want to know from them tomorrow, in your opinion?
I think we're going to try to get some clues on how they want to attack the offseason. Now, we're not going to be able to walk out of there and go, oh, my God, they're trading 2 number ones for a wide receiver. That's not going to happen, right? Nobody's going to give you that kind of thing. But I do think that you can ask questions or at least get insight about how they want to attack the offseason just by certain clues and things that they say. And if Brandon Beane, gives you any clue on, hey, like he said, I believe he did an interview one-on-one with Josh Reed not long ago of WIVB, where he said something to the effect of, it's my job to make sure Josh isn't throwing to guys who look like you and me. Like Joe Brady wants to, throw the ball downfield more. I got to make sure he's got guys to do that. And that perks my ears up, to be honest with you, right? Okay, what does that look like? Maybe you could poke around that. We've talked about this before last time I was on with you guys that, this is a bit different this year because we're going to figure out a little bit more about the defense as we go along this offseason. it might be more about who they bring in tells us about the defense than vice versa, which is usually we know the defense, who are they bringing in? And then I think the coaching staff as well. That is a bit of news that happened while we were gone. The Bills announced their coaching staff. I believe it was like right when I left that day or around there. I don't even know if we talked about it. Like John Fox is now on staff. Okay. Like, why is that important? What is his role? And I don't expect anything earth shattering. It's going to be, hey, he's an experienced kind of guy. But we could look through the coaching staff and try to figure out some things that they did, why they kept certain guys, why they didn't keep guys. They only kept 2 guys on the defensive side, Joe Dana, Jason Rebrovich. But I think more than anything, it's about clues of how they want to attack the offseason and what they feel about certain guys. If you ask them about Connor McGovern and you get an answer of, hey, we're going to try and do everything we can to keep Connor McGovern, that might be a little different than, Connor's earned the right to become a free agent. We can't keep everybody, right? I don't know that those two answers are very different.
Well, I'm very tuned into that, Sal, because I think it'll be really telling what they decide to do there. They did draft Cedric Van Pran Granger, this was his second full season. Have I got that right? So he's been sort of, he's been on the job training, right? I mean, he's here. He's been kept on the roster, and I assume that was to be grooming him. I mean, certainly there's a backup role to be fulfilled there, but I think a real clue to me about, the drafting they've done, the developing they've done will come in, are they comfortable? The answer to the question of are they comfortable just plugging and playing, a mid-round player from 2 drafts ago in place of someone who played at a pretty high level for them? Because there's no way. I mean, maybe they lose both of those guys. Edwards, the guy next to McGovern, is also a free agent. But maybe you can find your way to keep one of them. Maybe it depends on what the market is for each guy. But you should have guys in the pipeline ready to step in that you drafted a few years ago. I think that's not asking too much.
And the Bills have pretty much operated like that under this regime, where they have really, the last, I'd say 4 years or so, really concentrated on developing some offensive linemen to be able to step in. Spencer Brown comes to mind, where he's been able to do that. And even in Alec Anderson in certain roles, where he's played a much more prominent role, obviously, over the last several years. I think it's going to be tough for them. More than anything, I think this is a situation where they'd probably really like to keep a guy like Connor McGovern. I just don't think they can. They don't have the money. The money they're going to have to spend on the defensive side, the resources to kind of overhaul that side, what Jim Leonard's going to want to do, the fact that they still have Josh Allen, the fact that they still scored as many points as they did last year, and, they feel that they can have an elite offense again, maybe with a couple tweaks. And if they're going to spend money on offense, it's probably going to be at wide receiver. I just don't see how they can pay him. So, then Bulldog, you turn to what do we have? Well, we've had this guy for 2 years. So if Aaron Kromer and Austin Gunn and everybody around him did their job, he should be ready to step in. And if he's not, then maybe you have to find somebody else like an Alec Anderson, or go out there, maybe somebody in between that, where like an Edwards McGovern level or Alec Anderson's level. Anderson only signed a $3 million deal. I say only because that actually, guys, would have been about what they would have paid him, I think, for his restricted free agent tender. They're really not giving him anything more than that. So you're saving money there, and you're probably going to have to do the same in some way at center, and that's probably Van Pran Granger, who's on his 3rd year of his rookie deal.
Sal Capaccio in Indianapolis, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Sal says Joe Brady says he doesn't want Josh Allen throwing to receivers that look like you and me, as you put it, if that were to happen, and specifically it were us. Bulldog, your classic big-bodied X, Mike Evans. Think Mike Evans. Yep. I think Sal's our burner. Shaheed. And I'll be your late-stage Adam Thielen, just working out of the slot, trying to manipulate people and get open.
I can climb the ladder.
So
I mean, I literally need a ladder. If they will allow that.
There has to be a ladder.
I'm going to carry a ladder with me, so it's going to slow down my route running. But you put that ball up high, I'm going to scurry up that ladder and get it.
So there's that.
I mean, look what Cooper Kupp did, Mike, for, Seattle.
I didn't want to give myself too much credit. I didn't want to give myself.
Okay, there you go.
Well, Sal, you mentioned, you used the word overhaul when talking about the defense, as part of filling out the point about the guard and the center both being unrestricted free agents, and, the amount of money is going to get pretty thin, maybe pretty fast. How many players, have you really thought about, how many starting caliber players or even rotational players do you think they are going to need between, the defensive line, the linebacking core, and the secondary? It seems like there are a lot of holes there.
I could give you at least one from each level, maybe two from each level, to be honest with you. And, now you're starting to add up. You go two to each level, that's half the defense that turns over, right? So, I mean, when I say one from each level, people go, well, that's not many. Well, think about it. I mean, you only start 11 guys.
6 guys.
That's right. I mean, think about it for a second. So, at defensive end, after the contract they handed to Greg Rousseau last year and the fact that they drafted him and developed him and the same, general managers here, I can't imagine that, they're doing anything different with him. I think you do have to think about a guy like AJ Epinesa, though. He's going to be a free agent. How much money is he going to get? Where would he fit in the new defense if you want to bring him back? You might need to get younger there. Defensive tackle is really interesting to me. So they did bring back Fedarian Mathis today, and I think Fedarian Mathis can fit into this defense. I think he's a bigger body. The way that he moved last year, he actually impressed me in some of the games that he played. That might be a guy where it feels to me like you get this news today that he signed a 1 year deal. He was going to be an unrestricted free agent. Feels to me like that's a guy Jim Leonard probably walked in the office and said, hey, I will like this guy. I watch him on tape. Go re-sign him for me. Like, give me that guy. That's fine. So they did that with him. Ed Oliver's an interesting guy because I think he can fit in this defense, and it's not your traditional 3-4 nose tackle, but he has flexibility. He's a penetrator. From there, though, Bulldog, I'll go to, for example, a guy you brought up a lot last year. What's the future of Dwayne Carter, right?
Yeah.
What's the future of Daquan Jones? Probably not going to fit in this defense at his age where he is. But they got to roll with Deion Walker and TJ Sanders. Why wouldn't they? But they're in their second year. And then I go to the second level. I mean, Matt Milano's contract is voiding, $11 million cap hit, so it looks like that's going to be something he's not going to be on the team. Terrell Bernard's going to be a linebacker, but the question is what position is he playing? He's going to have to be, an inside backer, I'm saying, but that's a different position for him, so to speak, right? He's not a 4-3 guy. What about Dorian Williams? You could save money moving on from Dorian Williams, but does this team like Dorian Williams enough to, keep him on the roster and have him play next to Terrell Bernard? Special teams making, fourth year of a rookie contract isn't a lot of money. That's interesting because the only other guys are Joe Andreessen, Keontae Jenkins, Jimmy Charlo, and Balin Spector as a restricted free agent. And then you get to Taron Johnson. There's been a lot of debate about him. What exactly is the plan for nickel? And if you do have a plan for nickel, is he the guy you entrust because he didn't have quite the year last year? And look at his, look at his age and things like that. And then outside of that, hey, I could make a serious argument they could bring Tre'Davious White and should bring him back.
Yeah.
But what does that look like with Max Harrison as well? And then, of course, we all know they're going to need a starting safety next to Cole Bishop.
Taron Johnson will be 30 in July. A few minutes left with
go ahead.
Sal Capaccio.
Sorry, I just wanted to. So you think Rapp is a goner? Because I think the money, saving the money.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's why you say it that strongly. They're going to need a starting safety. I agree with you, but they do still have Rapp here.
You're right. On paper right now, Taylor Rapp would be the penciled-in starter, I guess. But I believe they will move on from him just by what the numbers are. Put it this way, if they don't move on from Taylor Rapp, I'm wondering, wow, what are you going to get from him, and why would you pay him that money? You better really have confidence in him, and it just feels like they probably wouldn't. Now, who knows? Sean McDermott was the coach. He's not anymore. Was that more of a Sean thing than, who's in charge now? And all those things could matter here. But I just feel Jim Leonard, that's the position he played, right? We all know that. He came in and said he loves Cole Bishop's game. That's the kind of safety he wanted to play. I think they want a guy that's more like Cole Bishop to be able to be pairing with him.
Well, Sal, we don't have, it seems, we'll see what kind of league news this week brings, but the last couple of years, it's been the tush push, it's been the overtime rules, it's been kickoffs. There's been meaty subjects, rules-wise, to sink your teeth into, and everything I've read in the last week or so seems to indicate that there is not that much on the table this year.
Correct. Except for some tweaking, maybe. Well, here's what we're going to find out. What does it look like with the aiding the runner discussion? So there's no tush push per se, but maybe that falls under the aiding the runner. That is going to be something discussed. Now, aiding the runner is, remember, years ago there was an aiding the runner penalty, which this is part of the reason I don't like the tush push. I grew up watching football thinking you can't push guys from behind. It's just not something you do in football. Why would you be allowed to do that? So to me, that was always aiding the runner. Well, they got rid of that back in the early 2000s because it's tough to adjudicate, and I totally get that. Well, instead of having that debate this year, it's okay, what about an offensive lineman in the middle of a pile that just starts shoving his guy forward? What about pulling your guy forward? That's always a weird one to me. You pull the guy forward in the end zone, that's allowed. That's aiding the runner. So, again, I understand the argument against it is that's another thing for referees to look at. But I think those things can be kind of seen, right? If you don't see him actually grab him and pull him, you can't, call the play dead or call a penalty or whatever. Now, that's one. The other one is, and I don't know how this is going to look either, guys, whatever happened with that really weird Rams-Seahawks play at the end of the game at night and that 2-point conversion that it went off someone's helmet, went backward, and the Rams are proposing a rule to fix that, basically. I just have no idea what the rule is.
Are they really?
Yes.
It's a huge play.
Huge play in the season.
I shouldn't say they're proposing a rule, Mike. We don't know that yet, but they're discussing it in a manner in which it could come out as a rules proposal, I guess. And then there will be alignment issues with the kickoff. So those are just kind of safety things after studying it for a couple of years. But it doesn't seem like there's any real big sweeping changes there.
You got to give them, I think, points for the kickoff changes, really. I mean, they brought the play back.
It worked. I didn't think it would, but it really has.
I don't like that you can't have onside kicks anymore unless you tell the other team you're doing it. But, there's some price to pay always. And, look, you don't even need the officials to be able to see these aiding the runner plays because there's people watching who can make the calls. So you don't have to even have the officials see. As long as it's visible on TV, that should be good enough. Didn't I see something today, or did you, about a second replay officials calling penalties? Something to that effect, like expanding challenging plays.
I didn't see anything today, but I had seen something earlier in the offseason already about whether they were going to expand the breadth of that, because the way it is, the way they say it now on games, there are examples of them not doing this, but that they can instruct the officials to pick up a flag when there wasn't a foul.
Correct.
And it's obvious, but they can't say you missed a face mask, you missed somebody hit the quarterback in the head or whatever it is. You can't then throw a flag with the assist of the sky ref. And I think that they were discussing changing that. And they probably should, because they've already done it a couple of times where, I can remember, Joe Buck complained, I thought they couldn't do this, but they did it because they thought they needed to. So it's maybe been at the discretion. I don't know. Maybe that's something that could get some discussion.
Yeah, it could. The other thing I'll be watching for this week is, we already alluded to about talking with people, but there's big names that have to have discussions here and be decided on. Tua is a big one. What happens with him, right? But there's other names around the league that start to percolate. And then Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson. So those are the names and the kind of cool things that you start to hear this week and figure out where things are going.
Kyler Murray is already one that there's talk about him today.
Malik Willis is apparently the quarterback this year, right? That people want, and I get it. What's the free agent pool look like? It's not that strong, and I totally understand. He's a guy that's looked pretty good at times when he's gone in. So we'll see where he goes. And as you guys, when we talked about this last week, I do think the Dolphins would be very interested in him, given the Packers connection with their new coach. But I heard today that the Cardinals would be interested in him as well if they move on from Murray.
Free agency opens March 9th. That might seem like a ways off. It's 2 weeks from today is all.
Yes. That is what we reluctantly call the legal tampering period. The actual date is March 11th.
Okay.
But, yeah, that's when they can start to talk to players.
Very good. We'll see if everybody that you're waiting on makes it in there. Sal, with all the weather and the...
I know. We were wondering. We have some texts going on with some media members, friends of mine, people getting in and out. Some had to change their flights. I saw Ben Volen was delayed 48 hours coming out of Boston, which makes sense. Maybe he's not going to be here, right? I mean, it's pretty bad. The cruise ship I was on, I will tell you guys, we got off Sunday morning. That same cruise ship did the same trip, was supposed to leave Sunday afternoon. It is still in New York City, in Brooklyn, because it did not leave. People boarded, they couldn't leave. So, I mean, yeah, it's a pretty crazy weather situation. And then, of course, because of the USA and the gold medals, and, they were even scheduled to go to New York, and they had to fly back to Miami. But instead, now with everything going on, and, I mean, I'm listening to you guys and talk about this last segment, I'm not making any sort of political statement here at all, but I think it's kind of wild that we're thinking about some players not joining their team because in the middle season they'd go get honored for winning a gold medal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 25 games left. There's a playoff push coming up.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to. I mean, it's a long time ago now, but I feel like guys on teams that play in the gold medal game have skipped maybe the first game back. Just whether they're traveling or going to the White House or not, just to give them a little bit extra time to buffer, and to just rush them back from wherever they're coming from. I mean, in 2010, it wasn't that bad. It was Vancouver, so it wasn't that was that cumbersome. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of bracing for both Jack Hughes and Tage Thompson not to be in their lineups on Wednesday when the Sabres visit the Devils.
Have them work it out with each other.
But what do I know? But
Thompson goes to Hughes.
Yeah, you're right.
Are you going to want to skip? I'll skip. We'll both skip.
Right.
I don't want to see Hughes out there and not Thompson, selfishly. All right, Sal, very good. Thanks for your time. We'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, guys, thanks.
All right, that's our man Sal Capaccio on the scene at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. His reports, as always, brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Lines open for your calls, 803-0550. Hello, Rochester. We're on in Rochester starting today, so thanks to you for joining us there. I mean, Bulldog, first they give us 107.7, then Rochester. I mean, are we on at the Fisher radio station today, too? Everywhere I've ever worked, they're coming back. They're lighting up. Paul Hamilton on the gold medal game and the return of the Sabres season. That'll be at 6 today. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. This is WGR. What a game, what a tournament, what an experience the whole ride was. To lose your teeth in the third period and then score the winner, that's just legendary stuff. Yeah. It is without the teeth. Hughes.
Yeah, it makes for a hell of a picture.
It's an incredible, all-time great Olympics picture, sports picture even, hockey picture, Jack Hughes. I wondered if you thought, and maybe he did talk about this, he probably did. Did he put the puck where he wanted to?
I don't know. It wasn't until I saw an ice level replay from behind him that I noticed what Binnington makes a very odd move there that really he kicks a leg out and is almost off the ice,
right,
to allow the puck underneath him there. So I don't know if Hughes. I heard him asked about it, and I felt all he said was, I knew I wanted to get a shot off because he was going to be aggressive. He was coming out. And maybe that's a clue that because he was coming out, he thought, I can expose him 5-hole. He's not going to be down in a butterfly because he's moving toward me, and that'll maybe make that harder. But I don't know if that's where, because, it's not like he picked a corner. I mean, he slid it underneath him. And, they all count. Crosby's little backhand went underneath Miller, like 5-hole. Miller was going for a poke check. This is 16 years ago now. But that was what happened, and it went, on the ice just through him.
Binnington had made a glove save. Was that even in the overtime? It was late in the game if it wasn't in the overtime, where he just gets a piece of it with his glove and it goes wide from there. And I wonder, was that recent enough for the player and the goalie to both be thinking about, for Hughes at least, to be thinking about, he just made that save, but it seemed like that was the shot. But instead, it just goes underneath his leg for an all-time great goal. So
I love that.
Now they're going to ride around South Beach. One
of my favorite things about the entire thing, the experience of them being there and ultimately winning, is Hughes. I think it was right after. I think it's on the ice still, being asked, what went through your mind? And he referenced Megan Keller having scored on, that was Thursday, right? Gold medal, the winner in overtime for the U.S. women against Canada. And I love that was something that he had ready to offer as what he was thinking about it.
It is Combine Week over in Indianapolis for the NFL. Players are going to start reporting today. The on-field work will not get going until Thursday, but tomorrow we are expecting to hear from head coach Joe Brady and general manager Brandon Beane. That'll be in the 2 p.m. hour, so do stay tuned for that. We also do have some Bills news. The team has confirmed both Alec Anderson and Fedarian Mathis have signed 1-year deals. And then some other notes around the league. 2 teams expect to be handing out franchise tags. Atlanta with tight end Kyle Pitts. And then according to Cowboys COO Stephen Jones, Dallas is leaning towards doing the same with wide receiver George Pickens. To the Sabres, just practiced today. They're getting ready for their first game back on Wednesday at New Jersey. Rasmus Dahlin did return to the ice after competing for Team Sweden in Milan, and we also did get an injury update from head coach Lindy Ruff. Zach Benson still not on the ice, and it is looking like he's not going to play Wednesday or really at all this week, while Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Josh Norris are set to be available for Wednesday. While for Tage Thompson, it's a bit more up in the air as he and the rest of the United States team celebrate their gold medal win over Canada, and he, along with the rest of the team, were invited to the State of the Union tomorrow night in Washington, D.C. Though, this could also mean Jack Hughes is unavailable for the New Jersey Devils. Sabres Injury Report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones on West New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
But I'll tell you what they really love. People love guys who want to compete and who want to put their skills on display. And the cream always rises to the top, man. It always does. And that's why I'm glad when the top players participate. That's good for you up there, in the TV booth talking about it. It's good for us analyzing it. It's great for the fans. It's just great overall.
Louis Riddick, almost like he doesn't know why some of the top prospects don't compete at the Combine. Feel free to mention the reason why guys don't do it. It doesn't really help them in some cases. So does that mean they're not competitive? Would you ever take it to mean that? I wouldn't.
No. Yeah, no. It's become way more common. Although some big names I did read today are maybe are we at a point now when you find out like the top rated running back is going to run, you go, oh wow,
that's the case.
Yeah, right.
Jeremiah Love.
So maybe that's even exactly what he's responding to there, is that some bigger name guys are slated to take part in some drills. I don't know about all, but whatever. But yeah, it's pretty common for guys to skip and wait for their own pro day, more controlled environment, and whatever.
Love will be fun to talk about. Get to, sprinkle it in. Because he will not be a Bills. He's not a Bills topic. Jeremiah Love. Neither was Ashton Genty last year, obviously. Not really a Bills topic. In fact, the Bills might be the least likely team in the NFL to build an argument that they ought to consider
drafting a running back
in the first round.
Yeah. No.
But he's another. It sounds like he's another one sort of on the Genty level, where top 10 is maybe even likely for him.
Golf clap to whoever does it. You got a quarterback, you're not going to win, but okay, good for you.
That was the Raiders.
Yep.
The Raiders probably thought they had quarterback at least somewhat figured out.
Yeah, that's right. With Geno coming to be with Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, like that just really, Geno really turned back into previous form.
The line, I guess, was part of that, that they just couldn't pass protect, and Genty's yards before contact were like negative, maybe, something like that. Well, the draft, here's to it. The combine gets underway. Lots to talk about tomorrow, including Bills press conferences. I didn't know that Jack Hughes and Quinn Hughes' mother was in the booth for the Frozen Four with Kenny Albert 22 years ago. Who is she? She was probably a top player. Ellen Weinberg Hughes.
I saw a photo, what I assume were Quinn and Jack as little kids with a woman, and it said all three of these people are Olympic medalists. So I'm assuming I did not go looking, but
yes.
I'm assuming that means she won something, or at least medaled in something at the Olympics.
She won a medal, I'm just reading it now, for the U.S. women's national team at the 1992 Women's Worlds.
Okay. So not an Olympic, but Worlds.
Kenny Albert tweeted that he worked with her at the Frozen Four.
Okay. Yeah, I did not know that.
In 2004. I didn't either. How about that? I'm not sure I have anything more on this one.
That's Vanek, right? That's you said. Isn't that here? Is that Vanek with the University of Minnesota? I think is 2004.
Well, is he maybe talking about a women's tournament?
Oh, duh. Yeah. Okay. Maybe. Yeah. Okay.
But that's 04?
Yeah. I think that's right. I think that's before that draft. He's playing for Minnesota, and right. I don't think he's Sabres. Is he a Sabres? Is he already Sabres property?
Maybe.
Yeah, I might have it backwards. All right, whatever.
We would have been focused on him.
I remember him. Yeah, I remember him being here. Yeah, I there's no way it would have just picked him out. Like, I sure hope they draft him. So it had to be.
You maybe would have. I would
not
know.
Have. I'll bet it was more that he was already their pick. So maybe that it's the year after his draft year. Is what I think is going to happen.
Frozen Four flashbacks.
Yes, that's where we're at.
That's where we're at today. The State of the Union, would that be interesting to go to? I get the White House. Washington's my favorite city in the country. Like, I get me to Washington. I'll always have reasons to want to go. The State of the Union, though, would you want to sit there? I mean, that seems like one where this is politics, right? Oh, get the Olympic team in here. Who's not going to stand and cheer? Half the stuff, half the people don't stand and cheer for all the different policy announcements and everything like that, right? It's all like that.
Right.
But you can't not
No, you have to.
recognize.
Next Tuesday, we're going to applaud Jack Eichel.
Well, that's what I was going to say next. And that's so interesting that the first home game the Sabres have is against Vegas. And they have to do that, right? Like they,
of course, yeah.
Something to honor both Thompson and Eichel.
And Thompson will get mentioned on Wednesday in New Jersey. Whether he and Hughes are in the lineup or not, they're going to mention, congratulations to our, Buffalo's Tage Thompson and our Olympic hero with the golden goal, whatever. There'll be a thing. And, yeah, I think, anything of that stature might be interesting to take it in person one time. So, if I'm a player on the team, wherever I stand politically, I might just be curious to just go experience it. I'm being invited to the White House. No one needs to know what I think about any of this stuff. I'm just going to go and see how this all goes. What's the security like? What is the crowd like? while the speeches are going on, I could see just having a general level of curiosity that would want to get you in the door.
I feel like it's an NFL preseason game. We're all excited for the season.
Right.
Here's the Hall of Fame game.
It's going to start,
the State
and
of
then
the
you're
Union
walking away.
is the Hall of Fame game.
Right.
Because about 5 minutes into it,
what am I doing here?
can I? Is it okay? Is there any way I can? You want to sit near the door? I think.
Yeah.
And then
I can see that too. Yeah.
Now I know why I never wanted to come to this.
Right.
Yeah, right. You could say, check the box in your life, but it wasn't ever a box in your life before. You can't just go to the State of the Union.
No, that's right. You need to be invited.
You can't aspire to go to, unless you're in Congress. Then, you do go to it, but
right.
you can't really just go to it, right?
Well,
there's no fans.
Some level of media, I think, are
media.
allowed,
All right, sure.
Reporters,
security officers, and there's ways in, but
right.
you're not buying a ticket.
No. Like you can't get on get on the train and go to Washington tomorrow and expect to get a ticket.
No, right.
I don't think it's like that.
It's not like seeing the Grand Canyon.
I don't think there's a secondary market for the tickets.
No,
I don't think
market.
there's
There's no
scalpers.
tickets.
I don't think right.
There's no tickets.
Not how that works.
It's a private event.
Right.
It does happen to be telecast. It's broadcast, but it's not something you can go to. I'm pretty sure about that anyway. I'm sounding like I know it for sure, and I'm not 100%. I'm close though. I'm close. Jack Hughes. Yeah, a lot of steam comes out of whatever announcement you're imagining on Wednesday night. If they're not there,
right?
Hughes and Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would expect that they'll both be there. Maybe fly in Wednesday morning if they're going to the state. If they are going to go, like I know they've been invited. I know the team has accepted. That doesn't mean that every guy on the team is going to absolutely go.
No,
right? Logistically, there might be guys that need to get out west. But for the Sabres and the Devils, for that matter, like the game is in New Jersey. Like that is not like, barring any more terrible weather, under normal circumstances, that's not a tough ask, I think, to be in Washington, D.C., on Tuesday evening and even get a flight out of there Tuesday night, if not early Wednesday morning, go to the morning skate, whatever. Like, I think both guys will be with their teams. Whether the teams feel or the players feel like they want to suit up and go is another matter. But I think they'll both be there to be introduced. They just might both be in street clothes.
Okay. He missed like 5 weeks of the season this year, Jack Hughes. Yeah. His first game back from that absence was against the Sabres, and he scored Jersey's only goal in that game, December 21st. So we'll see if he's on the ice and if Tage Thompson as well is on the ice tomorrow night, eventually. Wednesday night. Benson won't be.
At least not tomorrow. Yeah,
Wednesday.
I got
I got your back.
We're both doing it. All right, yeah, Wednesday. Yeah, that now sounds like there's
another injury.
I don't know. I want to talk to Paul. I don't know what words Lindy has used to describe it, but it's a separate situation from whatever injury was keeping him out from when he tumbled into the boards after, I think, scoring a goal in a game, one of those games in Florida. It was because he missed the game on Thursday against the Penguins before the break. But my understanding is it's not related to whatever upper body injury he was experiencing. So I don't know what is happening there. But yeah, he's there. I guess they've already ruled him out for Wednesday. And what I had read earlier, I know Zach is saying he's unlikely to play on the weekend in Florida. They play both Tampa and Florida on the weekend, Friday and Saturday, coming up here. Earlier in the day, I'd seen reference to it's possible he joins them by the weekend. But I don't know. I might have missed something. So that's been kind of weird. Like I was fully expecting him as much as anyone. I mean, to me, I guess I was expecting Norris back too, and I think we're going to get that. I thought for sure Benson would be back. It never sounded like it was that serious. And here we've gone through the whole break, and something else, it seems, has come up, and he's going to at least miss Wednesday and maybe more.
That next Sabres home game is next Tuesday against Vegas. And after that, they go to Pittsburgh on Thursday next week, and then after that are home for 5 straight. So here comes the return of the Sabre season, and thank goodness It's finally interesting.
And it'll be busy, right? Yeah, they got 25 games here to squeeze in. I mean, everybody in the league's the same boat. I mean, you take 2 weeks out of your season and put it aside. You're still trying to jam in, your 82 games by mid-April. So their calendar shrunk. So they're gonna be busy.
Expected Buffalo did a breakdown on their remaining schedule. It's hard.
Yeah, I saw.
Not only is it a lot of games, but
points percentage of the teams they're playing, especially on the road, I think I saw over 600.
Yeah, me too.
It's the points percentage of the teams they're playing away from KeyBank Center.
Sabres and Devils, with or without Tage Thompson, Jack Hughes, Wednesday night at 7 from Jersey. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550 to reach us. Bulldog calling the Hughes goal a top five sports moment in your life.
The whole experience of watching the game, sure, it's capped by the goal.
The whole game.
But the whole game, yeah. And I honestly, I would have said that if Canada had, if Macklin Celebrini had scored in overtime, I think I would have said the same thing. I mean, the immediate aftermath in the bar would have been very, very different. There was no one that I could notice cheering for Canada in this very large group of people I was a part of. But I would not have been, to me, it would have not taken a lot away from the event.
I want to hear more. We'll discuss it coming up after a break. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Lines open for you. This is WGR. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Thanks for joining us. Hello to our new listeners in Rochester. Starting today, WGR Rochester launching. I guess I should get back into the habit of reading the area code when the phone number comes around. Right? It's a different area code.
I guess that's right. Yeah.
When I lived in Rochester, we were still 716.
Wow.
I've never lived anywhere but 716.
All right.
It changed
I didn't know.
soon after I left. I'm not the reason why they changed it.
Okay. You sure you don't want to take some credit?
Would it be credit?
Blame?
Or, I don't know.
You had to learn a whole 3 new numbers.
585.
Yeah. I'll tell you what has happened. The incessant. It's fine. It's necessary security, but all the codes you get sent to log into anything, your doctor's page, your anything, right? We're going to send a code to your phone number. I have no problem remembering 6-digit codes anymore. Like I just look at it when my bank, for example, when they first started sending like that extra level of security, they log in, okay, we're going to send you a code and you got to put it in order to access your account. I would have to stare at my phone and like, okay, what is the number? Now I just look at it one time like I got it. Okay, just I'm more able to do that.
Do you say it out loud?
No. I don't.
Good thing. Nobody's supposed to hear it.
I know. I can't repeat it.
No one else is supposed to know.
I almost forwarded it to you today, and that would have been really bad.
For what?
Yeah, no. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But I've never been good with numbers like that, remembering numbers. Like if you tell me, and maybe I need to see it in order to have it work. Because I don't know if for some reason there was a function where my phone would just say the numbers to me, I might be like, oh no, I'm not going to remember those. But having the fallback of knowing I could check again if I forget, but I never forget.
Usually you don't even have to remember it. A lot of times you can just sort of click on it, and it goes right into the app.
The thing is, I'm on my iPad often, and the text gets sent to my phone.
Okay, can't do that then.
So I do.
Never mind.
But I do like that that feature of like just copy the password, and my iPad will even. I don't even have to go to the email. Like it'll just pop up on there, but the phone is separate.
What a cushy life.
Yeah.
You lead.
Yep.
But you're getting better at something.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's improved my ability to remember numbers. Only if I needed to remember phone numbers now, but
you don't.
We don't anymore.
We'll look for your calls after the update. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
Sabres practice this morning as they gear up for their first game back on Wednesday at New Jersey. Rasmus Dahlin did return to the ice after competing for Team Sweden in Milan, and we did get a bit of an injury update from head coach Lindy Ruff. Zach Benson still not on the ice. It's looking unlikely that he's going to be playing on Wednesday, and we'll see what the rest of the week holds for him, while Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Josh Norris are expected to be available for Wednesday. While for Tage Thompson, bit more up in the air for him as he and the United States celebrate their gold medal win over Canada. Thompson, along with the entire team, was invited to the State of the Union in Washington, D.C. tomorrow night. With that, though, could also mean Jack Hughes is unavailable for the Devils. Sabres Injury Report brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. In the NFL, it is Combine Week in Indianapolis. The players are starting to report today. Tomorrow, we are expected to hear from head coach Joe Brady and general manager Brandon Beane. That'll be in the 2 o'clock hour, so do stay tuned for that. We did also get some Bills news as well, as the team has confirmed both Alec Anderson and Fedarian Mathis have signed 1-year deals. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones on Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Schopp.
Hey, put a little. I never get this line out the first time. It's not even good. Hey, put a little bit more in there, cowboy.
And the Bulldog.
What's your degree in?
Kicking ass and taking names.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Hi there, welcome back. We've got the Combine to come, sales in Indianapolis, and we've got yesterday's incredible Olympics finale. In the end, the hockey game, Jack Hughes and Team USA wins it in overtime. Somehow wins that game yesterday, Team USA. 803-0550, welcome to our show. Just looking at through Twitter, Sal got a tweet from somebody who is annoyed that we always talk about Cedric Van Pran Granger, and Sal responded, I think it's your fault.
It is definitely my fault.
You have an obsession with him, I think. Something bordering on an obsession, perhaps.
I don't even. I think that's all too strong.
Do you?
I mean, it's definitely a player that I liked the draft pick. I think you could see. I didn't know McGovern was going to move to center when he did, but Morse was winding down. Like, let's get a guy, on deck here. Good college, great conference. Like, played in big games. Not going to be. Nothing should be overwhelming. Like, I don't know the man. I've not met him, but I just figured a lot of boxes were checked there, and someone I was expecting to become a starter for the Bills, and so I think that time is now. Like, if it's ever going to happen, it should happen now. I'm not saying they couldn't maybe find someone better. But if you're going to go out and pay for somebody, or even pay to keep McGovern, then what have you been doing with Cedric Van Pran Granger on your roster for 2 seasons, developing him? Like, if you don't know yet that he's not going to take over, then you should have found someone else to be the backup center who you could be developing towards starting for you, is how I would say it. So, I'm sort of expecting him to get an opportunity there.
I think that all makes perfect sense. I think the listener might also, it's such a name. If his name is Rob Smith, I'm not sure anybody would have their radar up for how many times they've heard Bulldog talk about Rob Smith. Here's Patrick with us. Hi, Patrick.
What's going on?
Hi, Patrick. Thanks for calling.
How you doing?
We're good, thank you.
All right, so I was working at a bar yesterday morning, and it was electric.
Mm-hmm.
It was the most prolific moment since the last time the Sabres were in the playoffs. I've never heard a bar that loud.
I believe it. It has been a long time since we've had hockey barroom scenes. I've mentioned a few times here when the winning streak, the 10-game win streak ended. That was a Saturday afternoon game at the same place I was yesterday, and that was also packed for the game. It was not like people just, I'm shopping, I'm hungry, I want to go for a drink. It was like people came at 3 o'clock to see the Blue Jackets and Sabres play.
Werenski.
And that was the first moment that I this might be a thing again. welcome back, and good for, I don't know what you do at the bar you work at, but I've gotten to know the bartenders at the place I hang out at, and like business is good. When people want to come watch events on TV, that works for them. All the better if it's the Buffalo Sabres of the National Hockey League. So it's a little piece of the community that we just have not had. It's not like the thing that would be at the top of mind, and it really wasn't for me until this day back in December, late December, when I was in the place watching this Columbus Sabres game, that I thought like, oh yeah, these guys and all the people working there were saying like, this is, I remember this. This is what it was like, 20 years ago when the Sabres were really hot in 05, 06, and 06 and 07. It was, every game night was kind of a scene. And that's been gone for, the better part of 15 years now, or 14 years. So welcome back to that.
So Wednesday, thanks, Patrick. Wednesday is the first night of games. Nothing tonight or tomorrow. And we'll see if Tage Thompson and Jack Hughes, the hero, are both available to their teams for that game, Sabres-Devils. It's a TNT night in the NHL Wednesday, but they don't have the Sabres game. They have Toronto and Tampa.
Okay.
Wouldn't they love to be able to switch that to get Hughes?
Boy, I'll bet. Yeah, I'll bet. Although they'll have, did Tampa have anybody? Tampa had a Brendan Hagel, Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have Austin Matthews. But that game is in Tampa or Toronto?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think that would be that. Yeah, I think if you could choose right now, if they could look at the schedule and go, which game would we rather have? I think they'd rather have the Jack Hughes Tage Thompson game, provided they would know they were going to play.
Yeah, they have to find out first, and I'm sure they probably can't switch it anyway. But you're talking about going out to watch the Sabres, and that is a long time ago for me.
Yes,
and I thought about going out yesterday, but didn't ultimately decide to do that. Thinking about 20 years ago, that was a regular thing. We would go out for playoff games. My wife and I were newly married. We'd go out to watch the playoff games usually.
Or go to them.
Or, we went to all the home games those 2 years, I think. But, now, like, it's got to keep up. I mean, they're not a given to make it. They'll probably be in the race at worst the rest of the way, a couple dozen games. But it's interesting and fun to ponder like doing that again. I mean, I'm that many years older, so I'm not as likely to just sort of go out late at night all the time.
And your free time is a lot more restricted than I mean, my kids are adults; they have their own cars. Like I'm
neither of those things.
I am a spare part. Really,
I do feel like a spare part.
And my wife works a lot of nights, so there will be a lot of nights. But again, I'm not one that's going out on a Tuesday night usually. But when it lines up on a Friday or a Saturday, or even a Sunday, I'm gonna want to try to. I mean, I don't exactly say recreate yesterday, but I'm just gonna want to go have a time. It is a communal thing, and I've always loved that, even though I haven't always been the most active participant in it. I love knowing that it's out there, and as the weather starts to eventually clean up and get, we're a couple of weeks away from the clocks switching again, so we're going to start getting longer days, and that'll add to it. You get out of work, Sabres are playing at 7:00, and it's like the sun is still out. Like, okay, I think I'm going somewhere.
That homestand coming up, that's how it'll be.
Right.
We're trying to put yesterday's game and the goal into some perspective. Your favorite moment, top 5, top 10, whatever it is. And you've made this point about how you almost don't care who wins the game for this. Like it's the what? It should be you're the one saying it. It's like the spectacle of it, the importance of the NHL players being back, the competitiveness and how close it is.
Yep.
Many great plays, lots of hitting early in this game.
It just had everything. Certainly Canada had the better high grade chances, but that only added to it. You know, like I don't have a bet on Hellebuck or anything, but I do love narrative busters, and he's a guy that has accomplished a lot in his career individually, but has not come through. His save percentage is like 880 or something in the playoffs. Nowhere near like what is his mark might be around 920 in the regular, at least the last couple of regular seasons. He's one of the best goalies on the planet, but he hasn't had a moment yet. And yesterday was that for him. So that worked for me. And if he'd gotten scored on, you know, that light dims considerably, even if he'd played the same game with all the great saves, including the one behind him with the stick and everything. You know, if he gets scored on like Binnington did, he doesn't have all this glory. But I liked that part of it. But really, for me, Mike, I mean, I just referenced it a moment ago. A game the Sabres lost 5-1 in the regular season to Columbus on a Saturday afternoon made enough of an impression on me because the Sabres fell behind in that game 1-0. They scored to tie it up, and you should have heard the place. Like for a game in December against Columbus. I mean, people were really into it, and that's when the light went on for me. Like, oh, yeah, this is all a thing here, you know? We tend to think of the party in the plaza, because that's adjacent to the arena, and it's really a part of, you know, the scene down there. But every place in town is going to have some degree of this if it's a place people like to go to watch games. And I just love that about it. So that's why I would say, like, even if Macklin Celebrini had scored at 1:41 or whatever it was of overtime yesterday, the whole day, getting in there that early, having a Bloody Mary at 7:45, right? And, I mean, I know a lot of people that work there. I hang out there a lot. So I'm a regular, so I know the regulars. But I had about a dozen of my best friends all there. Like, that day would not have been ruined by a Canadian goal.
No, okay.
For me.
But we really are talking about these like it's two different categories. You know, if somehow a regular season game against Columbus is the comp because of the atmosphere where you were, that won't make it an all-time great sporting moment.
No, of course not.
So you're talking about being with people, and there'll be lots of times anybody can remember being out and watching a game together. Like that's its own kind of thing. But you could put, whether you want to do it by the game or just the goal, you could put that, somebody could easily put that way high on their list, whether they were out with friends or not, of their favorite all-time sporting event moments. You know, like, I don't know exactly how I'd want to do it, because I think you're right to kind of frame it in terms of the whole game, or even, you know, more of the tournament. Both teams had to win overtime games to get there, and you got the big showdown yesterday already when you sat down for it. The fact that, I mean, everybody saw this and knows this, but the guy gets his teeth knocked out and then he's still bleeding from it when he scores the goal, and then you've got the Gaudreau element and the kid. It's the kid's second birthday, and they're out there, and like, it was really a tearjerker, and it isn't if Canada wins. Like, it's none of those things.
That's right.
If Celebrini scores that goal for you, if McKinnon doesn't miss the open net, doesn't mean anything toward Hellebuck, I think, but that's a different, we're writing different stories. You don't get any of that if you don't get exactly what you got. It's just very different. I think.
Well, I guess what I'm divulging by saying it the way I'm saying it is that I didn't need the U.S. to win the game. Like, I wasn't that, like, that absolute, like, oh, I'm going to be heartbroken, crestfallen.
No, okay.
And I'm glad they won. I think it's awesome for Tage Thompson and everybody else in USA Hockey, but it wasn't gonna ruin my day. I know that, but that's just me.
No, it wasn't going to ruin my day either. But it happened the way it did, and it can be really high on somebody's like personal list. I mean, in terms of the Olympics, it might be number one by a lot for anybody like hockey fans. USA hasn't won in forever. I can barely remember that happening. 1980 speaks for itself. And so, you know, if you love the Olympics, there's other skiing and other things you can remember, but this would be up there. I think comparing it with Eruzione is interesting, and so on. I'm thinking of, like, in my life, my favorite moments, based on my favorite teams, or maybe it would be influenced by who I was with to watch certain of these. It would be the 86 World Series would be my number one. But do I have to just compare between Game 6 and Game 7, the 10th inning versus it's kind of all one thing for me.
Yeah.
Would be that. Pominville would have to be right up there too. That was insane. We were not out, my wife and I, for that goal. We went out when it happened because then we wanted to be in a bar after they had already won the game. So there's that. I would say, though, too, I mean, neither would I have been crushed had they lost. I felt like, it was trending that way. So I was sort of...
Yeah, bracing for it, yeah.
I do love that Canada won both draws in overtime. I didn't hear anything about how important faceoffs were after this goal by Hughes. I would rank the women's win over yesterday because I have a thing about the best teams winning. And I was more invested in them than this team, the men's team, like I've said over and over here, I have mixed feelings about. There are players on the team I dislike. And maybe if the women's players were more prominent, I would also have that. Mm-hmm. But I don't. They're not. And so buying into that, and they were so dominant the whole way up to the final. I mean, even the Canadian men were not that. Not against U.S., not in general.
They barely got by once the medal round got here.
Yeah, these games have been really close.
Yeah.
And this one was no exception. But I thought for the women, if the women had lost, and they were very close to losing, like a minute left when they tie the game, something like that, that would have been really tough because they have rolled Canada and they have mostly lost to them forever.
Right.
And so that was kind of the one that they needed. This one yesterday is more like of a relief. Like you've been close and it's been so long and you've got all this great talent. To get it is massive, right? You would say that?
Yes.
I think had Canada beaten the Americans and the women, it would have been like stealing it, which, happens.
Yeah. And to some extent, maybe that's how Canada feels about the men. That it's a goalie stealing it. He's on the team. So you don't. It was funny. I heard a clip, the morning show today, and the phrasing, "Nobody ever says we got forwarded." Works. You never hear that. Like if Connor McDavid had an incredible game and he's the best player in the world, no one would say like, "Oh yeah, we got McDavided." Instead of getting goalied, right? And to an extent they got, but the game was not. I mean, it wasn't like a game between the U.S. women and the German women or something. It wasn't completely lopsided where you see single digit shots and 35 or something for the other side. It was respectable, but Canada definitely had the better of the play, and the goalie Holoubek did make all the difference. I mean, he was just so everything is going to be the spectacular, reaching behind him to paddle that one out on Taves, but all game long, how many times was he just right on his post on shots from like in tight? He was just so perfect positionally. Not even, you see goals go in like that sometimes. The guy's just, there's a crack somewhere, and he was just locked in everywhere, especially in tight around the posts. I just thought he was just really outstanding. Just a really, really high caliber game from him.
The 5-on-3 was quintessentially that.
Yeah.
He even fell on one play. Remember the play in the second period where he goes down and the puck is up high and he gets up and he gets back.
Yep.
So, yeah, there was definitely a lot of that. I mean, there's a lot of luck in that stick save.
Sure.
But he's still able to get there.
Yeah,
he got there.
He thought to try it and it worked. So, yeah, I mean, that's a play that is probably, 99 times out of 100 ends up in the net. But you got to be desperate enough to try, and he did, and he got it. So, credit to him. So, yeah, I mean, I think the longer you go without winning in that spot, I think the harder, it just continues to grow and grow and grow. Like we'd be hearing a lot of like, well, that's just Canada. This is how it goes. It's what they do. They showed up again with all their best guys, and a guy who's got like a ridiculously bad season going in the NHL playing goal for them, and he's playing great again. That's Binnington. This is what he does.
He had a couple good ones too.
Yeah, and it would be, if not now, when kind of thing. And you got to wait. I don't know. They're going to do some sort of in-season thing again, I think, in 2 years. So I don't think we'll have to wait 4 more years for best on best, but you don't have to wait 2. And even that won't be the Olympics again. So at least you're on the board, and there's no more talk about it being 46 years or longer. It would be 50 years by the time they go back to another Olympic Games. So they got that off their backs at least.
He doesn't have to be the top U.S. goalie by then anyway.
Hellebuck?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. No, he's
already almost 33.
He's going to be 36, 37 years old. Yeah.
By the next Olympics.
Yeah, there should be someone else by then. I would hope.
Me too. But yeah, all those things, he was great. A lot of drama. Thompson had a couple looks. Binnington got Thompson in close once.
Yeah, I think he had 2 of the best U.S. scoring chances in the whole game, Thompson, and just couldn't get there. But just like it's been all tournament, power play 1, yes. The rest of it, it's like about 10 minutes. He just was not prominently featured. But even even this is one of these things, right? When you win everything you did, right? So Trocheck, JT Miller, their penalty kill, I think, batted 1,000 for the whole thing. I don't think they gave up a goal.
I think that's right.
On the penalty kill.
5-on-3 for a minute and a half.
And that is largely Miller and Trocheck why they're there. And so say what you want. 5-on-5, there's no way they should be on the ice instead of Tage Thompson or Clayton Keller or Dylan Larkin or any of the guys that were on. Hughes ended up on the line with Thompson and Larkin for these last 2 games. And that was kind of fun when they were together, but it just was never a lot. But criticize all you want. The guys that were there to kill the penalties killed the penalties. And they're probably not winning gold without it. They're definitely not winning gold without it. To give up no power play goals against was really something. Against those players. All through the tournament.
Yeah, it was bleak when that second penalty.
Yeah.
I guess you have to call that. The ref waited. The second one of those 2 penalties against USA, whoever it was, got stuck. Like he was hooking him and he couldn't get out. And all you could do maybe is drop the stick.
Yeah.
But didn't do it in time.
The player being fouled there, I'm sure feels the stick and I think knows how to make it stay there. right. Like
tighten up.
If I can get this stick to stay here, I'm drawing a call. Even though we're already up a man. So yeah.
I think I saw that Celebrini had the most goals in the tournament or as many as anyone else, 5. I don't think anybody else scored more than that or even that many. How about that guy? As a teenager.
Yep.
And had a lot of chances yesterday and missed them all.
Including a breakaway. Yeah.
Including that breakaway, yes.
Yeah, that's
McDavid had a breakaway.
Yeah.
There's a Hellebuck moment.
Yeah. McDavid, I almost felt people I was with, it might have been my son, like he was almost going too fast for his own good. Like he ran out of room in part because he was coming in so hot. And he just both guys ended up doing kind of the same thing. Like Hellebuck just didn't give him anything. And McDavid, I think Celebrini maybe got a shot off. McDavid didn't even really get a shot off.
Well, he needed that speed to get in.
Right.
Because there was somebody
but
once
he got there, it was just like he ran out of room and just ended up sort of shoveling the puck towards his pad. Like, no chance that's going in.
Right. Well, memorable. 803-0550 to join us if you want to talk about it. We'll get some more football in as well as we go through the remainder of this hour. Paul Hamilton joins us at 6 to talk about yesterday and also the return of the Olympians and the return of the Sabres season. Wednesday night, 7 o'clock in New Jersey. Jack Hughes, if he plays. And everybody's, I think, wondering if they're going to get their American or even Canadian players back in time for night 1, which is Wednesday. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Love to hear from you. Lines are open. This is WGR.
I'm very tuned into that, Sal, because I think it'll be really telling what they decide to do there. They did draft Cedric Van Pran-Granger, this was his second full season. Have I got that right? So he's been sort of, he's been on the job training, right? I mean, he's here. He's been kept on the roster, and I assume that was to be grooming him. I mean, certainly there's a backup role to be fulfilled there, but I think a real clue to me about, the drafting they've done, the developing they've done will come in. Are they comfortable? The answer to the question of are they comfortable just plugging and playing, a mid-round player from 2 drafts ago in place of someone who played at a pretty high level for them? Because there's no way. I mean, maybe they lose both of those guys. Edwards, the guy next to McGovern, is also a free agent. But maybe you can find your way to keep one of them. Maybe it depends on what the market is for each guy. But you should have guys in the pipeline ready to step in that you drafted a few years ago. I think that's not asking too much.
And the Bills have pretty much operated like that under this regime, where they have really, the last, I'd say 4 years or so, really concentrated on developing some offensive linemen to be able to step in. Spencer Brown comes to mind, where he's been able to do that. And even in Alec Anderson in certain roles, where he's played a much more prominent role, obviously, over the last several years. I think it's going to be tough for them. More than anything, I think this is a situation where they'd probably really like to keep a guy like Connor McGovern. I just don't think they can. They don't have the money. The money they're going to have to spend on the defensive side, the resources to kind of overhaul that side, what Jim Leonard's going to want to do, the fact that they still have Josh Allen, the fact that they still scored as many points as they did last year, and, they feel that they can have an elite offense again, maybe with a couple tweaks. And if they're going to spend money on offense, it's probably going to be at wide receiver. I just don't see how they can pay him. So, then Bulldog, you turn to what do we have? Well, we've had this guy for 2 years. So if Aaron Kromer and Austin Gunn and everybody around him did their job, he should be ready to step in. And if he's not, then maybe you have to find somebody else like an Alec Anderson, or go out there, maybe somebody in between that, where like an Edwards McGovern level or Alec Anderson's level. Anderson only signed a $3 million deal. I say only because that actually, guys, would have been about what they would have paid him, I think, for his restricted free agent tender. They're really not giving him anything more than that. So you're saving money there, and you're probably going to have to do the same in some way at center, and that's probably Van Pran-Granger, who's on his 3rd year of his rookie deal.
Well, I wonder what you might have in mind for Bean and Brady tomorrow. I mean, it hasn't been that long since Brady was introduced and both spoke. And there really hasn't been much news since then. Maybe, like you're saying, tomorrow there will be more. But what are we going to want to know from them tomorrow, in your opinion?
I think we're going to try to get some clues on how they want to attack the offseason. Now, we're not going to be able to walk out of there and go, oh, my God, they're trading 2 number 1s for a wide receiver. That's not going to happen, right? Nobody's going to give you that kind of thing. But I do think that you can ask questions or at least get insight about how they want to attack the offseason just by certain clues and things that they say. And if Brandon Beane, gives you any clue on, hey, like he said, I believe he did an interview one-on-one with Josh Reed not long ago of WIVB, where he said something to the effect of, it's my job to make sure Josh isn't throwing to guys who look like you and me. Like Joe Brady wants to, throw the ball downfield more. I got to make sure he's got guys to do that. And that perks my ears up, to be honest with you, right? Like, okay, what does that look like? Maybe you could poke around that. We've talked about this before last time I was on with you guys, that, this is a bit different this year because we're going to figure out a little bit more about the defense as we go along this offseason. It might be more about who they bring in tells us about the defense than vice versa, which is usually we know the defense, who are they bringing in? And then I think the coaching staff as well. That is a bit of news that happened while we were gone. The Bills announced their coaching staff. I believe it was like right when I left that day or around there. I don't even know if we talked about it. Like John Fox is now on staff. Okay. Like, why is that important? What is his role? And I don't expect anything earth shattering. It's going to be, hey, he's an experienced kind of guy. But we could look through the coaching staff and try to figure out some things that they did, why they kept certain guys, why they didn't keep guys. They only kept 2 guys on the defensive side, Joe Dana, Jason Rebrovich. But I think more than anything, it's about clues of how they want to attack the offseason and what they feel about certain guys. If you ask them about Connor McGovern and you get an answer of, hey, we're going to try and do everything we can to keep Connor McGovern, that might be a little different than, Connor's earned the right to become a free agent. We can't keep everybody, right? I don't know.
Buffalo Sabres practiced this morning as they gear up for their first game back on Wednesday at New Jersey. Rasmus Dahlin did return to the ice after competing for Team Sweden in Milan. And we did also get an injury update from head coach Lindy Ruff. Zach Benson still not on the ice. The odds of him playing Wednesday are very low this week, also potentially in doubt, while Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Josh Norris are expected to be available on Wednesday. While for Tage Thompson, it's a bit more up in the air as the U.S. celebrate their gold medal win over Canada. Thompson, along with the entire U.S. team, were invited to the State of the Union in Washington, D.C. tomorrow night. This also, though, could mean Jack Hughes is unavailable for the Devils. We'll get more on the Sabres as stay tuned. Coming up at 6, Paul Hamilton will join the show. And Sabres Injury Report is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. And in the NFL, it is Combine Week over in Indianapolis. Players are starting to report today. Tomorrow, we are expecting to hear from head coach Joe Brady and GM Brandon Beane in around the 2 p.m. hour. And then Thursday is when the actual on-the-field testing will begin. And the Bills did also confirm 2 signings today, Alec Anderson and Federi Mathis, both getting 1-year contracts. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones on Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's hard to put into words. It's crazy. Part of the group, I'm emotional. It just means a lot, So many good people behind me that help me, and it just means the world to be here, It's tough to get it out right now. That group of guys, just really unselfish, came together, and I'm sorry I'm emotional. Something we'll have together and have this forever.
Jack Eichel, the Sabres' first home game is next Tuesday against Eichel's Golden Knights. And you'd have to think there'd be some acknowledgement of Team USA's win. You'd have to hope there will be. There definitely will be. And Eichel would be included in that. So get ready. You're going to have to like him next Tuesday. Or at least not,
You just give him his flowers when they do whatever they're going to do. If there's a ceremonial face-off, or I don't know to what lengths they'll go. I don't remember. It's one of these things that it's long enough ago now, right? I mean, it's 2010. I know they played again in 14, but we didn't. I just don't remember what the protocol is, but there'll be something, and there's no way you're going to be booing because it's going to be they're going to introduce them both. Right, it'll be probably quietly Jack Eichel, and then boisterously for Tage Thompson, and I would think you're all going to cheer. And then if you want to boo Eichel the rest of the night, knock yourself out.
Oh, there definitely will be booing.
Yeah.
No, at the
announcement.
Yes.
Oh,
definitely. It's 19,000 people. They booed the anthem when the Sabres were in the playoffs last. I mean, if a small percentage of people do it, you will hear it.
They have been booing Doug Allen this year still when he's back on Thursdays. I was at that's probably right.
They don't boo the anthem; they boo the anthem singer.
They boo the singer, right.
But I wouldn't bet against there being some, audible.
Yeah,
I don't need to talk about it anymore because I'm certainly not going
to
support or defend it. But I would guess that conversation we had before about like all-time great moments, maybe not as famous as a sports moment, but when you're with certain people or you're in a crowd and people are, joining in the whole thing together, it's kind of like a different conversation. I got to figure out what to do with Game 2 of the 2025 World Series. I went to that game. My first and only World Series experience was all about the Blue Jays, and they lost 5-1. I think maybe was the score.
And didn't have a hit from
I went to the wrong game.
It was the worst game of the entire playoffs, maybe for them.
Right. So on a list of how memorable was it, it's very high. Is maybe as high as anything. Much like that at one NBA game I went to.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland Golden State in the finals, maybe in 2017. That was an incredible game too. That was different from this. But sort of there's a list of games you were at, moments you saw in person, all those Sabre playoff wins in the mid-2000s or even back in the 90s, they're all up there because those are such fun times. But sometimes, you go to a game like that in Toronto, and it's a dud, but it's still, really cool.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with these lists. Leave it to the professionals. And we're kind of the professionals, and I still don't really know exactly how to do it.
And the reason I'm saying it the way I'm saying it about this game is that I don't have a long list. When we're talking about the stadium closing down, it's like, what's your most memorable game? I'm like, the game that clinched the division in 95. Because I just didn't, my work, not radio work, but, during the 90s, I was working at a pizza place and I worked every Sunday. I was at work all the time. And then the radio, when the Sabres are good in 98 and 99, guess who's on the air from 6 to 11 every night while the games are going on?
Going against the games.
Me, right. Yes. So there just wasn't a lot of that for me. I don't have, for someone who's done this for a living for the amount of time that I have, I don't have a long list of like being out or at the big game, the moment. Yeah, I just don't. My resume is pretty weak in that area. I've got explanations for it all. It's not like, obviously I love sports and I love our teams here in Buffalo, but I just don't have that experience that often. That's why when I get it, it really stands out to me. And like I would say, again, I really believe, I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it. Like, it would have been very different, obviously, if Canada scored the goal. Like the chanting and the yelling and the celebrating and all the stuff would not have been there. But the whole 2.5 hours leading up to that would have happened, and I loved that as much as the celebrating and everything. It was a great experience. I love hockey. It's why I wanted this tournament. It mattered a lot to me to get these players back on this stage just to see it. Like, I didn't need an outcome, at least not desperately, that it would have risen to the level that it would have wrecked my experience. I think I would still say the same thing. Like I said, if Canada had scored, it would have been, again, less, maybe some crying instead of happy tears, maybe even, but I would have loved it all, the whole thing, just the same. Like, just seeing and knowing that the scene was being played out in bars all over town really made me happy. Hockey. I love hockey. And we have had nothing even close to yesterday. And that's a whole nother level. But the Sabres being absent from our lives in this way has hopefully is close to coming to an end. If it doesn't, if the playoff drought doesn't end,
it'll hurt.
At least these games are going to, for a little while here, probably they don't come out and lose 7 of 8 here to get going in these final 25. We're going to have a spring of meaningful hockey games. I'm not about to reference was it Jason Botterill with the meaningful games in March?
I think so.
We're going to get that one way or another. Yeah.
It's next week.
Yeah. So, but we've been missing that for so long. How many times when the weather starts to get nice have I made the point about how, we should be bumping down to the arena or going to our favorite bar or whatever, going to some friend's house for the game tonight because, it's a team you might see in the playoffs or whatever it is. And it just has not existed in our lives for 15 years, 14 years. That's incredible. To have missed something that I know, yesterday demonstrates it again. This city, this community loves that sport.
And we're going to get the list of like the ratings, and it'll be Buffalo, Providence, West Palm Beach,
yes,
markets that watch. It was always the same cities that watch the NHL.
Yep.
The top 10 list:
come
Buffalo,
playoff
Providence,
time. Yep.
Rhode Island, and West Palm Beach, Florida. I want that list. Would the Olympics be different?
I don't know.
Maybe the West Coast is tougher because it's 5 in the morning yesterday in California.
Yeah.
Were you surprised, by the way, by our coworker before the show today saying that he's happy that real hockey is back? Not a fan of the pros in the Olympics? You heard him.
I did. I wasn't surprised only because I thought I overheard him talking with you one day last week. And you maybe asked him, like, how are you enjoying the hockey? And I heard him sort of like muttering. basically.
He sounded today like he didn't watch it.
Yeah, I didn't press him on it. I want to say I respect it. Because I know this guy. I've worked with, this is Tom, one of our engineers, and I've worked with him since Elmwood Avenue. He used to be on the road with me doing remotes 3 nights a week when I was doing that nighttime show that I just talked about that was on against Sabres games. And I know he loves the sport.
Yep.
So I'm inclined to not discount or shame him in any way.
No.
I respect that he feels strongly that he doesn't want to see the NHL players in the Olympics.
I respect it too. I'm not at all bringing it up to embarrass him. And I think part of why I would say the women's win was better for me is the fact that they're pros. I mean, I'm not as emotional as you. And a lot of these big sporting events, I love them in my own way, but it's not quite the same connection sometimes. And I will say about yesterday that was not on my mind when they won that game. You know, who these guys were.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't at all cynical about it or anything. And sometimes I can be the guy, if I don't say it, I'll be thinking it, well, here's why this isn't actually as cool as you think. But that left me yesterday, for the most part, all day. When it sinks in, you go, this is not Eruzione.
No.
Because it's that part of that story is what makes it special. And these are all-stars. If I'm in that sort of more cynical mood, I would say to myself, I'm watching the Florida Panthers Invitational here. It's USA, Canada, sure, those are the jerseys. I like how Ray Ratto at Defector wrote the final score was NHL 2, NHL 1 yesterday. So there is that element of it, and it's not to be completely, you can ignore it.
Yep.
It makes it sweeter, I guess, if you do, maybe. How all these guys are kind of already set in their lives before that win, which is completely not the case about 1980. And those guys were college kids who did the unthinkable. So it's obviously different in that way. And the women are pros now.
That's right.
So that's very different. But they're not
people
multimillionaires.
And they're not people you have strong opinions about because you haven't watched them play 10 games or 1,000 or 100 or whatever games.
You haven't watched them spear Sabres.
Right.
Or slew foot them.
Right. So it leaves the runway a little clearer. I totally get that. I just want, I really, all due respect to our coworker, I wanted to see best on best just for the exhibition of it. And what's great is that it doesn't end up being treated as an exhibition. I mean, it is, but it's not. Like the players, this is not an all-star game. Like they deeply, deeply care. I mean, I don't know. Cale Makar didn't care enough to really work on that back check on the winning goal, but they care a lot. See that? Like he's sort of floating through the neutral zone there. Like if he's striding, he might be to use by the time the puck gets there. But
he gets outraced for sure. And I guess you could maybe say there's never an excuse for that. He's got McKinnon back there and might have thought he was fine.
He might throw this up the wall, and I'm out here. Yeah, I don't know. Sure.
He wasn't racing against a breakaway.
That's right. That's right. But as it turned out, circumstantially, it looks there's an angle from behind the Canada net where you see him coming up the ice. And there's about, really between the blue lines, he mostly isn't striding. He's just sort of like, oh, this is not going to involve me. I probably should have. Oh.
Well, again, I won't make an excuse for him. I don't really mean to, but he's beat from the word go.
Right.
By Hughes on that sprint. Once Hughes chips the puck past him, he's going full stride. And, Makar is big and fast. Maybe he can get there.
Yeah, because the play took long enough for Werenski to get locked up with McKinnon. All I'm saying is if he busts it the whole way, he might be able to get a stick on Hughes.
That's right. Also, if it bounces a certain different way or McKinnon makes a different play, he might have a breakaway waiting for him.
That's right.
3-on-3 is just, it's crazy.
Yep.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. We'll talk some more after a break. Paul joins us at 6. This is WGR. Mike Schopp here, whether it's Excited to be on in Rochester beginning today. Maybe it launched yesterday, WGR in Rochester. I am proud to be a former resident. I loved my years there. 11 years I lived there. So thanks for stopping by with us. We're talking a lot of hockey today. This is not something we've done a lot of, believe it or not, for like the last decade.
Right.
We have the games, but, the Sabres have not been good in a long time. The Olympics whets the appetite really nicely, and back into the regular season starting on Wednesday. NFL Combine this week. We talked to Sal Capaccio earlier. He's in Indianapolis. Is it time to start to whip up free agent ideas of the day? Bring that back.
I thought we'd already sort of chipped away at that a little bit last week, even. Maybe not every day.
Not officially?
Yeah, right. It was trial balloons.
Here's one for today. We'll make it an official one. Free agent idea of the day, February 23rd. Tyler Linderbaum, center, Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, my God. I mean, is money no object? Then absolutely. But, geez, he's going to make – I haven't looked. I mean, I would expect him to get paid significantly more than Connor McGovern gets paid on the open market. And we're talking like the Bills might probably not be able to afford to keep Connor McGovern. So, yeah, no. I mean, you can spend your money any way you want. If they want to forego any sort of upgrade at wide receiver and roll with one-legged Gabe Davis and Tyrell Shavers, okay, go sign Linderbaum to the market rate contract. You'll have one of, if not the best center in the league on your team. I doubt they do that. I would not encourage them to do that, but I guess they could.
I also highly doubt they will do that. He's interesting to bring up, I think, for something I read from Bill Barnwell today at ESPN, who has a long article, really useful, on a lot of the top free agents. And Linderbaum's deal is, like, why is Baltimore letting him get to market? Because he gets paid like a tackle. When you do all the franchise tag stuff, the linemen are all equals. And so he might not be as valuable monetarily as, like, a great left tackle. But that's how he would get slotted, right? I think. Do I have it right? Franchise tag? So Baltimore. I'm not sure. I think Baltimore thought he was good too.
Yeah.
But didn't want to have to pay him.
I think, at a higher level, they're in the same situation the Bills are in with their center. This guy's excellent. We'd love to have him on our team, but he's earned the right to go get paid at the top of the market. And we've got a quarterback that's making $50 million, and, that's pretty much that. We're gonna have to find a way to get by without him. I think. I don't think I don't think McGovern is flawed in any way. I just don't think the Bills can afford to pay the going open market rate, and I think the same goes for this player with Baltimore.
Yeah. So interesting logistics on that.
Yeah.
You'd think it should be different, right? That centers should be centers and guards should be guards.
Yeah.
We had this. We've had something like this with tight end. In for maybe the entirety of the franchise tag stuff, but thinking of Jimmy Graham when he was, very productive for New Orleans as a tight end, he wanted to be paid what the receivers were getting because he almost never played with his hand down.
Right.
Like my stats, my season is measured by catches and touchdowns.
He was like
receivers,
80-some% in the slot, lined up like a slot receiver.
That seems fair.
Yeah.
Seems like a righteous take, but I don't know if that's changed at all, actually. But that's apparently at least part of why Baltimore is letting this player become a free agent. Well, I just brought it up because I wanted to mention that one thing. Not that the Bills were really probably going to be. I mean, it's not impossible because they have a vacancy now.
They do, right.
I don't see it.
Right. If they can't afford to pay their guy, they're not going to upgrade.
Are we down to 22 UFAs, by the way? For the Bills with Fedarian Mathis?
I think he could have become unrestricted. That's right. Sal said that. I wasn't sure about the the different levels guys are at. But Anderson was restricted, and I think this guy was going to be UFA.
We'll be talking about a lot of different ideas here in the coming days and weeks. Paul Hamilton joins us after the update. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, thanks for listening. This is WGR.
Held practice earlier this morning as they gear up for their first game back on Wednesday at New Jersey. Rasmus Dahlin returned to the ice after competing for Team Sweden in Milan, and we did get an injury update from head coach Lindy Ruff. Zach Benson still not on the ice. It's looking very unlikely he'll be playing on Wednesday, and the entire week could be in doubt for him. While Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Josh Norris, though, they should be available for Wednesday. As for Tage Thompson, he's a bit more up in the air as the U.S. celebrates their gold medal win over Canada. Thompson, along with the entire U.S. team, were invited to the State of the Union in Washington, D.C. tomorrow night, though this could mean Jack Hughes is unavailable for the Devils. We'll get more on yesterday and what is to look forward to for the Sabres as Paul Hamilton will join the show next. Do stay tuned for that. And the Sabres Injury Report is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. And in the NFL, it is Combine Week over in Indianapolis. Players are starting to report today. Tomorrow, we are expected to hear from head coach Joe Brady and general manager Brandon Beane. That'll be in the 2 p.m. hour, so stay tuned for that. And then the actual on-the-field work will begin on Thursday. And then we did have some Bills signing news as well, as they confirmed Alec Anderson and Fedarian Mathis have signed one-year contracts. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones on Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Paul Hamilton.
That's what they called me in college, was the bone.
He has the facts to back up his opinions.
People ask me, well, how are the Sabres are they going to win tonight? I don't have a clue.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
By the way, there was a part 2 to the earlier conversation we had about our coworker mentioning that he doesn't want the pros in the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that he said that it looked like somebody threw up in the sink.
Yeah, I was there for that.
You were there for that?
Yeah.
I had just rinsed out this dish, which was my lunch.
Yeah.
Macaroni and cheese. Baked macaroni and cheese, so breadcrumbs.
It still looks like there's quite a bit of residue in there.
There is. I didn't wash it.
Oh,
I just rinsed it out when I was done eating. I ate out of this dish.
And left a mess in the sink?
There would be some of these crumbs in the sink naturally, from rinsing out the dish.
Yeah.
And to him, it looked like somebody had puked in there. And I'm like, no, that's just, a little bit of what I had for lunch. Yeah. Was that bad? Should I have...
You didn't feel compelled to, leave it better for somebody else?
You know what? Maybe that's true. Maybe that's fair. Because, at home, I would do the same thing, and then eventually run the disposal.
Right.
Don't we have that? I've never thought about whether we have that.
Not a disposal out there.
Okay, then I'm probably a bad person. That was a bad job.
I think in this case,
I think it was. I'm admitting it.
I think you did a bad. Good.
I just felt like I could rinse out the dish and that would be the end of it.
Yeah. No.
There's all kinds of dirty dishes in there every day.
This is never once is one of them from me. If I have a dish, I will wash it and put it in the drying rack. I don't leave cups, or I rarely eat here using any kind of a whatever. But when I do, if I have a bowl of soup or something, I wash it and put it back. This is a thing in my house. The amount of time I spend, my wife too, I think, cleaning up sinks, both in the bathroom and in the kitchen, is a lot. It's a lot of time spent sweeping garbage into the disposal that's left behind. I don't think these people are doing my sons are doing this with any intent, but they just do not. They're not aware that they're leaving behind something that Dad is going to have to clean up. And it's kind of annoying. So I'm very, but this shouldn't surprise you. I'm a psycho about stuff like that.
Well, I know we have a team of people that clean the office, and I've never thought twice about, finishing my coffee and leaving the cup in the sink, rather than doing what? Washing the cup or loading the dishwasher. I guess I should be doing that.
I've never opened the dishwasher one time here because I will wash the dish I use.
Paul Hamilton with us now.
We're all going to be better for this now, so this is good.
Paul Hamilton with us now on the Western Hotline. Paul, how are you?
I'm well. How are you guys?
Any thoughts on this topic, or can we move on?
I actually just hooked up, so I don't even know what
Good.
we're talking
Good.
about.
Just as well.
Let's just move right along, Paul.
Just as well.
How did you feel about yesterday's hockey game?
Well, I enjoyed it. It was fun to watch. What I saw of it, Lindy Ruff decided to have practice at 10:30, and I knew this was going to happen. I left about maybe 5 minutes into the third period, and I knew we were going to get there, and the media was just going to sit there and look at the ice until the game was over. Sure enough, that's about, the coaches, and because in Harbor Center there are monitors around like if you look through the glass you can watch, and that's what they were doing, looking in and lying, and the coaches were looking through the glass at the game, at the overtime, and the players were in the locker room still, and then of course when the goal was scored everybody went crazy, and the players came out pretty quick. So practice started about 35 minutes late, but I knew that's the way this was going to roll, that we were going to get down there for practice and we were going to sit and freeze in the in the arena waiting for the team to come out, which is what happened. But as far as the game went, you don't need me to tell you that Canada had the better of the play, and I always wondered why some people were saying they thought the United States were a better team, and even with you guys, I kept saying any team that shows up with a center ice of Crosby, McDavid, and McKinnon is going to be a really hard team to beat. And even without Crosby, I thought Canada was the much better team. But in another thing we've talked about all for the last couple of weeks is, in these one-game tournaments, your goaltender shows up, and he can pull one on you, and that's exactly what Hellebuyck did. I mean, he was as good as he could possibly be, and made some great saves along the way, and was fantastic, and showed why he has won the Hart Trophy as a goaltender, which not too many goaltenders have done, and really led Team USA to victory. And the players themselves said without him, they wouldn't have won.
Yeah.
Now, of course, they had to kill off a 133 5-on-3, which they did a great job on. Hellebuyck, I think, only had to make one really good save, a one-timer by Celebrini. Other than that, they did a really nice job. So, that was good. Their penalty killing throughout the whole tournament. They never gave up a power play goal. The whole tournament was very good. There were other things that they needed to do, a little luck along the way. McKinnon, how he missed that play in the third period.
Yep.
He could have that 999 times out of 1,000, and he would score he would probably miss that once every 2 years, maybe once every 3 years. He just isn't going to miss that, but he did. He missed that. They had two great chances on power plays by Celebrini over the net on both. But I will say this. Sometimes a goaltender makes you shoot over the net because you've got nothing to shoot at.
Yeah.
And I think that could have been part of the case, too. And Hellebuyck stopped the best two Canadians that came down on breakaways, McDavid and Celebrini, both had clean-cut breakaways. And it's almost like they gave up on it.
They didn't know where to go. I know.
Yeah, he gave them absolutely nothing.
Yep.
And it was just like McDavid just barely got a shot off. It was like between the post and the pad, and I think the pad actually got on the puck. But there was just nothing there for those two players to come down on. It wasn't all Hellebuyck, but it was mostly Hellebuyck.
Yeah, tough for him that he was hurt earlier this year. They're pretty buried, Winnipeg, in the standings. But he's had, he's one of these guys that's had this reputation, Paul, for not being able to come through in the playoffs. His save percentage in the playoffs is well below 900, which for a goalie of his caliber is really, really noticeable. So, but sadly for them and him, I guess he's not going to be able to use this as a springboard for the playoffs. But he finally had a moment here where in a game of that magnitude, he was the best player on the ice.
Well, I'm thoroughly convinced, and I've said it for a long time, that Winnipeg overplays him. So by the time they get to the playoffs, he's dead. I mean, it's over 60 games almost every year. And sometimes it's like 65 or 67, I believe, maybe was his high. And his save percentage, I actually looked it up because I wanted to see what his numbers were at the Four Nations, which were fantastic. even better at these Olympics. But in the playoffs, he was something like 24 and 34, somewhere in there. And his save percentage was a little bit over 900. It was right there. It was right on the – and his goals against, I think, was 2.90. And I'm just thoroughly convinced that he's dead by the time they're into the playoffs because we see time after time after time in the regular season how good he is. And he wins the awards, and people call him the best goaltender with good reason. And then he gets to the playoffs, and it's just not there, and I just think they overplay him.
How about Thompson's tournament, Paul? He had chances yesterday.
Yeah, no, I liked it, especially it was the Sweden game when all of a sudden Sullivan decided to put Hughes on their line. It just wasn't working with Connor or anybody else that they had put on there. Keller was the other one. It just wasn't working. And once Hughes went out there with Larkin and Thompson, I thought they were their best line from that point forward. Hughes really, I think, made a difference on that line. And Thompson got a lot more scoring chances, and I just thought it was a very good line. I think Larkin put a couple in the net after that, and I thought that line really performed well. And it seemed like every game he was getting quality chances. Lindy brought this up yesterday, that he felt maybe Thompson had the best chances the U.S. had, other than the goals that they scored. And I remember in the second period, it was almost rapid fire. Larkin set him up in the slot, and he got stopped. And then right after that, Hughes set him up almost in the same place, and he put a really nifty move on, but he got in too far, and he hit the side of the net with the backhand, a move that he often will put in the net. And then in the third period, he had a really good opportunity in front of the net. I thought the puck was going to come right to him, and I thought that was going to go in for him. So I liked his tournament. Nobody really – I mean, Team USA didn't have a guy who really took off with goals. I mean, Thompson had 3. I'm
Matthews maybe had 4. I think. I think I mean, he had a good tournament, but not spectacular.
No, I thought Matthews was good. I thought Eichel was good. I thought I really liked Matthews in that tournament. To be quite honest with you, and the only thing I didn't like about Matthews and Eddie Olczyk brought it up numerous times is that play in the power play, and he did it a couple of times in the tournament. He was being too nice. I mean, he got that puck. He was wide open, and he tried to force a puck to Matthew Tkachuk, who was covered, and he had the shot. I mean, if you're Austin Matthews, I want you shooting that puck. And that would be the only complaint I would have, but he really, I think improved his defense and really concentrated on that. He didn't want to be the guy that let his team down defensively. Eichel, I really thought had a really nice Olympics too. I liked him too. So maybe it was something for, because Matthews has had the reputation too because of the Leafs. The Leafs never go anywhere.
Yeah.
And Matthews is the big reason for it. Well, now maybe he has that monkey off his back as the captain of Team USA, and he walks out of there with a gold medal, and he plays well.
Just to fill it out here, what I'm referring to on Hellebuck, we've already covered him, but I'll move on quickly after this. The last 3 years in the playoffs, his save percentage, 886, 864, 866.
I looked up his career.
Yeah, but 903 for his career. Earlier in his career, first time in the playoffs, 17 games, 922. There's a 931 in 8 games in 2021. But the last 3 years, when he's really been one of or thought of as the best guy in the league, he's really underperformed. I wanted to ask you about a player. Mike asked a question I really enjoyed thinking about and answering earlier today. Was there a player in this tournament that you really maybe like the light went on for you? Like that you hadn't really been exposed to or seen a lot of that you came out of the tournament going, wow, this guy. For me, Boldy was that. Like I did not realize what a big, impactful player he could be. And the play he made yesterday for that first goal was, outside of Hellebuck and the saves he made, was maybe the best play he made in the whole game. I mean, it was an incredible individual effort for that goal. But Boldy was not a guy that I had really thought a lot about, and he might be one of my favorite American players now.
Especially since he got between 2 Colorado Avalanche defensemen, and one is considered the best defenseman in the National Hockey League in Makar and Taves, and he just split them easily. I don't know what happened to Makar. He had an awful game. He was responsible for both goals. And on the overtime goal, not only did he allow Hughes to poke the puck past him and then take off on a very poor, stepping up, he didn't hustle back. He was gliding.
We just talked about this a little bit ago.
Yeah, if he hustled back, he probably gets to Hughes because he's a fast skater.
Yep.
But he was gliding, and at the last second, he's, okay, let me go to him. Well, too late. And but anyway, I kind of regressed there. For me, Celebrini was. I'm not going to lie to you. When he was drafted, I had no idea he was this good. I knew he was good, but I had no idea he was this good. Coming out of college, he all year long has surprised me, but kind of topped it off. I think he was even better in the Olympics than he's been during the season. And, he's the second leading scorer in the Olympics. I didn't have that on my bingo card.
Yeah.
So he's the guy for me that really has opened my eyes both this season and even more in the Olympics.
So, Paul, what did you learn today about, from the Sabres standpoint, their expectations for Thompson to join them by Wednesday?
Lindy said there's really no plan. Lindy has no idea how this is going to play out. He actually had the wrong time they got in. He had him in last night. They actually didn't get in till this afternoon. So he already thought they were there in Miami. So that's, kind of how far he's out of the loop right now. And he said, really, there's no plan right now. I don't know how he is, how he feels. He's not worried about injury. They said they learned rather quickly the injury was fine. And don't forget, Jarmo Kekalainen was there with Team Finland, so he probably got a report very quickly from the U.S. doctors. So it's not bad. It's just, as busy they're going to be in the White House, or not the White House, the
State of the Union.
State of the Union tomorrow, and just the adrenaline you're on by winning something like this. I don't know how many guys are going to be ready to play by Wednesday other than Tage Thompson or whatever. So, and then the snowstorm, and Lindy was thinking, well, if they got in last night, we can get them to Buffalo, Miami to Buffalo. That's not a problem. We can go on the charter then. But
that's not happening.
He said, really, what's that?
That seems like that's not happening, right? They ended up, right.
Yeah, it seems like most of them are probably going to go, to the State of the Union, which probably puts him out of playing in New Jersey. So, I would think then we're talking about the Florida game, getting him down there for that. Now, Lindy did say, he goes, I know Tage Thompson well enough that he's probably going to want to play. He goes, whether he's ready to play or not, he goes, I don't know. He goes, so really, as of right now, it's when he was talking to us around noontime, he goes, there is no plan for him. I mean, there is a plan for Luukkonen and Norris. They're playing. Well, I don't know if Luukkonen's playing. He's
cleared to play.
He's available.
Yeah,
he's cleared to play if they want to use him. So I know that plan. He hadn't gotten the results from Benson's testing yet. He was hoping to get him when he got back over to the arena. We were at Harbor Center. So he doesn't know where that's going, but he just did say, he goes, I don't see how he could play this week. He actually said the whole week.
All
today.
week.
So,
wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So it seems like, he's going to maybe miss 3 games more, depending on what the results of these tests are and this mysterious.
Yeah, what are the
injury, whatever?
What are the clues? It's not the same injury that he got knocked out of that game in Florida with, right? It's something else. Is it like more of a illness than an injury, or do you just don't know?
I was thinking illness, but he's skating on his own. I mean, Zucker certainly wasn't skating on his own when he was floored by that illness. I mean, so I just don't. And Lindy almost told us, he was on his way to telling us, and then he stopped himself. He goes, "No, I'm not going to say." So sometimes when he gets on that tangent, he will go through with it. Sometimes he won't. He didn't go through with it this time. So I don't have a guess for you guys. I really don't know what this is, but it has nothing to do with the upper body injury that put him out.
All right, Paul. Great game yesterday. Great to talk with you about it. We will catch up soon.
I'm already missing the Olympics.
I am.
With the off time, I was watching live events instead of, so by the time the evening came, I had already seen all the events. I really, really enjoyed it. Sitting there, I was watching curling. All of a sudden, I became a curling fan of the two U.S. teams, the men's and the women's. It's just like, why? When did I start enjoying curling? But I was, rooting for them and watching those matches. So I miss it today.
It's tough for the women to get fourth. It's got to be tough for any Olympian to finish fourth. The format of it
so well.
The format of it, so you get to the medal round. 4 make it to the medal round. And then you go 0-2 and no medal in the end. It's got to be a bitter pill.
And the team they lost to in the semifinals, they beat in the final game, a final shot to get into the top 4. Yeah, if they don't make that final shot, they're not in. I really enjoyed watching them play, and it was fun. I mean, they had a tournament where they were really hot, and then they got really cold because there's a lot of games in the round robin.
Yes.
It seemed like they were playing like 2 matches a day
sometimes,
and so it was kind of fun to watch that. And then they kind of got their game back, and the men lost their game and couldn't get it back, and they didn't get in the Final Four. But the mixed team actually medaled.
Correct.
And that's when I started watching.
That was way at the beginning of the Olympics. Yeah, right.
They won silver.
And she became the first U.S. female curler to win a medal. So that was fun to watch. And then, of course, she was on the women's team, so I knew who she was. And, I really enjoyed the curling. I've never really gotten into it before.
It would be Corey Teesey you're speaking of there.
Yes. I do remember that.
You'll have to take a road trip with Mike to go watch some curling in person.
I watch all the curling always, so... Yeah,
like even in the summer.
I watched it all too, and I couldn't remember her name.
I go to
once you
events.
said it, I remembered it, but I could have sat here all night, and I wouldn't have.
What are you doing in June? Mike will take you to Sudbury.
I've seen her in person. Yes.
Have you seen her in person?
Oh yeah, all of them. Sure. The slams are not international events; they're team events, but all the top teams are there. So not everybody at the Olympics would have been in the slams, but most.
Oh, very cool.
All right, gotta go. Thank you, Paul.
Take care, guys.
As much as I enjoy talking about curling, I hate to close the door on it.
We got to cut it down here. Paul's appearance with us brought to you by Equitable Advisors. Planning for your future is about more than just money. Let Equitable be your guide, and by Raylax Honda. Raylax, we got this.
Am I the only person wondering why the Sabres scheduled practice for during the game? That couldn't have been noon or something?
I really don't know what that is. That is very, very odd to me that they did that. Wouldn't everyone just want to watch it?
Wouldn't the coaches even too?
Wouldn't you have a watch party for the team?
One group of people unavailable to watch the gold medal game are the Buffalo Sabres.
Very odd.
Is that maybe right? Sal Capaccio joined us earlier today from the Combine in Indianapolis. Preview of that and some Bills talk with Sal coming your way after this. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.